Welcome everyone to the PJ's Cast. I'm your host Pierce, alongside of my good pal Dylan. How are we doing today, Dylan?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Sunday fun day. You know how it is.
Hell yeah. I wasn't. Yeah, we were kind of talking before we started this. I wasn't expecting to record today. I had work and had my Pilates class, which was fun. And you texted me like first thing in the morning, like, "Do you want to record today?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, let's do it." I mean, other than that, like after I'm done all that, I got nothing planned the rest of the night. So we got a few things to talk about. We can go a long time here. And and before this, I was like, I don't know if I want to read Reddit stories, but you know what? We're gonna do that as well.
Yeah,
So
sneak a
it's
couple in
going
there. Come on.
the vibes are good right now. You got a couple of drinks. I mean, I don't have any alcoholic beverages, but I do have Pepsi and water with me. So,
Listen, it's just a relaxing Sunday night, and that's what this pod's
Mhm.
gonna be tonight. And also, we got a lot to talk about because we skipped a couple things last show, and then just everything started coming out the next couple days. So yeah, we got some stuff to talk about. That's for sure. You want me to lead off, or you with the first
Fuck
one?
yeah, you lead off. I was gonna say like this is not. I was gonna say therapy session. Like this is not a therapy session. This is just
This
a
is
chill session.
This is after 6 weeks of painful hockey to watch. Connor Bedard made a very surprise return on Thursday, to say the least. Like, what was it? Elliot Friedman tweeted out at like 10 a.m. I thought it was the fake account, dead ass. Like that's how, like, because I didn't get the
Freed
notification.
HINC instead of HNIC.
Literally,
That
bro.
account
Like
follows me because whenever I see that, I'm like, are you sure it's not that account? But I'm like, wait, I don't have the notifications on for that account.
well, because like usually if some Hawks news breaks, it's like Ben Pope or Scott Powers saying it first. But it was Frege, and he's like, "Oh yeah, if Bedard gets this test, he'll be ready to go against Pittsburgh on Thursday." And I was shocked for one, just because I remember Richardson a couple weeks ago was like, "Oh yeah, he gets his doctor's appointments on Mondays. That's probably when you'll get your update." But I mean, we've been talking about it for a month. This guy's been itching to get back on the ice, and what do you think? It took him one period to get his legs back. Like this guy should have 4 points in 2 games since returning. Like I don't care. That goal on Saturday against Ottawa, then the third, that should have counted. I don't care,
That's
especially
two of
because
them
Ottawa turned the
disallowed
puck
now.
over. Like come on,
Yeah,
man. Like I don't know, man. He's just it's like a bolt of joy after just watching such mundane
it's a
hockey.
shot in the arm, man.
Oh, dude, literally. It's freaking adrenaline rush watching that kid play. And he's making, like, you could just tell that team has a new energy to them with him back on the bench. Like, Kershev was already heating up before Bedard got back, but now he's just on a whole nother level. Like, he's making anticipatory passes to Bedard that he wasn't doing before. And then obviously Foligno's got chemistry with both of them. He's doing great. But yeah, man, like it's obviously they didn't win against Pittsburgh on Thursday, but broke the schneid against Ottawa on Saturday. Great, love dunking on Ottawa. It's like one of my favorite things in the world. Like Bedard made Jake Sanderson look silly at least twice. Like it was pretty rough.
So bad where Scott Wheeler was like, man, Jake Sanderson is having a rough season. Watch this now. Watch him get turnstiled.
Hey man, if they want to trade him, we'll take him. Like I'll take that reclamation project any day of the week. And they locked him up too. That's the crazy part. Like, oh man. And the thing is, like Ottawa played well. Like they had I didn't get to watch the game, but like
Dude, they had 42 shots.
Yeah, man. They were and like the goals they got were tic-tac-toe goals. Like they were nasty. It's just like
that's the only way you can beat Mrazek now.
Dude, it seems like that, right? Like what was the stat earlier this week from Mike Kelly? This was before they broke the losing streak, but I think he was like 0-5-1 with a 930 or something. Like it was just, it's not okay what's going on right now. And I'm glad with Bedard back, we're going to get the goals from Mrazek because he deserves them, man. He's been fucking left out the dry for the last month. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the last couple of games? Oops.
Well, yeah, we recorded that podcast on Wednesday, and then the Thursday morning, it was. I think I don't remember which one was which news came out first, but there was the Jarmo Kekalainen firing, which we'll obviously get to after this. But then obviously you brought up there was the Connor Bedard coming back to the lineup, and yeah, it's I think I've said this so many times, repeated myself so many times, but January through February is so rough with not just with sports, but with life in general, with having sun for maybe 8 hours of the day for me always. So it's always a grind, and having no Connor Bedard for that month and a half. It was really tough. Like I maybe watched a couple of Hawks games. I think I watched the Oilers Hawks game because I always try to watch Oilers game, and obviously I try to watch as many Blackhawks games as I can. But it was few and far between the games I watched. But that Thursday, just seeing Connor Bedard potentially come back, then he came back, and seeing the Blue Jays, pitchers and catchers are at I think they're in Dunedin right now. It's like it was a rough like couple months I would say for sports, for my hockey team and my baseball team. So, you know, even though like I know the Blackhawks are still going to lose a lot of games and I don't really know what to expect from the Jays this year, I'm still excited. Like I got that joy back. So, we're rolling it with right now. It's good vibes right
I
now.
I love it, dude. It's good vibes all over the place. Like you said, pitchers and catchers are back. Sox are in Mesa right now. Like that's a beautiful place to be for spring training. Where do the Blue Jays play? They're in Florida, right?
Yeah,
Or
Dunedin. Yeah.
nice, nice.
I think it's right outside Tampa. So,
Yeah, like they're all right over there. Like the Phillies are over there. Like the
mhm.
Yankees are down there and stuff. It's crazy during spring training, but yeah, it's a fun time of the year for sports, and it's like it's nice to have this, like especially for me because I'm such a big football fan. It's like the football season just ended, get Bedard back, baseball starting back up. We're gonna get the off season going for football, and then we're gonna have the trade deadline going for hockey. And it seems like trade deadline just got a little bit crazier too. On top of that, but like it starts with like the teams you love, right? Like you just said, it starts with the Blue Jays for you and the Blackhawks and a little bit of the Oilers too, and like. Yeah, I watched a lot of those Hawks games those last 6-7 weeks when he was out, just mainly because it was like I just got a new job, so I was like trying to spend as much time with my parents as possible. So I'd be watching all those games, and it's just like we're watching them every night, and it's like the effort's
It's
not
tough.
terrible, but it's like
Yeah.
they just don't have the
It's
firepower,
a
and
team that doesn't have Connor Bedard and has nothing else besides that. Well, they're trying though. They're
they're
trying.
trying, yeah, and it just it's like a night and day impact, man. Like anyone who thought this kid was not going to be what he was, insane. And like honestly, I'm kicking myself for doubting his impact as an 18-year-old because he
I
is
think we're gonna get his stats right, but that's because he missed a month and a half of games.
the point
It's
percentage will be higher, like that's for
mhm.
sure. Like he already grabbed the Calder lead back. Like he's got 37 now. So should have 38. I really like I can't stress it enough. Two of his best goals in the NHL have already got taken off the board because of offsides. Oh, it's the worst. But like this guy scores any he like you said for months, he's an offensive dynamo. Like I don't even know how else to describe it. This anytime that guy has the puck or is on the ice, it's in the offensive zone. And if it isn't, that probably means it was either the defense made a good play or someone turned the puck over. It's usually not because like they're getting hemmed. And if they are getting hemmed, it's because they never got the puck in the first place. But that line, anytime 98's on the ice, good things are going to happen. That's all it feels like. And he's just electric, man. I can't stress it enough. He's electric. Like I missed it, man. I didn't think I was gonna miss it that much for 6 weeks, but it was oh man. Those last two games, they were fun to watch. And we get what 20 something more for the season. So good stuff.
We gotta enjoy it. Absolutely. I'm just watching Maple Leafs fans with what Austin Matthews is doing right now, and they're like, "Yeah, we haven't won. We haven't even got to the Cup final. We haven't got past round two. But man, look at the talent we're enjoying right now." And that's for me. Like, I always took for granted like how like Connor Bedard, how fun it is to watch him in the lineup, even on this bad team, and having him out for that month and a half. And made me realize, damn, like we gotta enjoy every second of this guy. Just the fact of him playing on a team with not much support around him having a couple of goals taken back, him being out for a week and a half, and he still, was leading in rookie point scoring, and now like imagine how good he's gonna look when he has, actual talent to play alongside of him. And we say this, Oliver Moore is doing great in college, so is Frank Nazar. We might see
Dave
him.
I don't mean to cut you off, but like it seems like every prospect that went to the World Juniors just hit another gear when they got
Yeah,
back to
not even
school.
those two, which are the most notable ones.
Brinzel.
So has Brinzel, Gavin Hayes is tearing it up in the OHL right now. Just there's a lot of hope coming on the way. I mean, there's not a lot of tangibles on the roster right now, but obviously getting Connor Bedard back that helps. Um, yeah, anyone Connor Bedard, like we saw all the tweets of him while he's walking around the arena. He wants to be there. He wants to be practicing on ice. He wants to be playing games. He was reading everything about Brock Faber getting the Calder. He's like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna be out this week and a half. They can all catch up. They can all say whatever you want, but once I come back, like it's mine. And he's done just that.
I wonder how many times this kid's heard like, hey, Crosby and McDavid never won the Calder. And it's just like, okay, McDavid only had like looking back on it, like, yeah, McDavid probably should have got more votes than he did for point a game in like 50 games or whatever it was. But it really is astonishing. Like it was looking back on it now, right? Because like, and at the time, you don't want your 18-year-old franchise player to get hurt, right? But
what, Brandon Manning?
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm talking about Bedard specifically, but
yeah.
McDavid too. Yeah, when he got hurt by Manning, like.
But Brendan Smith, bum depth defenseman. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it helped the team in the long run, I'm going to say, because, like, let's face it, they're kind of locked into a bottom 4 pick right now, unless they rattle off like 7 in a row, which if they do, that's awesome. Like, that's
they've
great.
Created separation for that last play. They're doing worse than last year, but also how they sold off all their pieces last year. That's not going to happen this year,
man. Like, they're so banged up. Like, it's
like that's a big one, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, the games they've lost to injury this year have been, I'd argue, more than they have the last 3, which is crazy to think about. Because like 21-22, I'd say they were relatively healthy, and then last year
they had depth too. The coaching and the vibes were off that year.
Yep. But man, they just couldn't catch a break this year. And like, yeah, in the long run, that's probably going to help, because if the worst case scenario is we're dropping to like the Caden Lindstrom, like that conversation at 3-4, I'm at a point with this draft right now to where I'm very comfortable if the Hawks are picking 1 through 4. Like, I think if they're picking 1, Celebrini, that's awesome. We got our 2 franchise players.
Got our dynamic duo. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Got our Taves and Kane again. If not, like, you can go get Artem Levshunov, which I know you've been banging the table for.
I would love that.
Go get that partner for Korchinski. I personally love Caden Lindstrom. I'd love picking him in one of those spots.
Yeah, the more you've been hyping him up, the more I'm like, damn, like you bringing up he could be Bedard's winger or vice versa. That's such a a horrifying proposition for other teams, but just such a an enjoy. I don't know what the word was, but like that would be an awesome thing for the Blackhawks.
And that would be like, that's the advantage kind of like with this draft class. I feel like they don't really have to go center. They can go someone who could play center, which is kind of what they've done a lot recently. Like, I look at Nazar and Moore and like, yeah, I think Nazar could be like the second line center on this team in the future.
So can Moore, yeah.
Exactly. So could Oliver Moore, but I think one of those guys is going to play on the wing, and they're going to be a damn good winger for this team, just because their assets could be, or their physical traits could be used so well on the wing. And I tend to lean that Moore is going to go to the wing, just because I think that speed on the outside it'd be Hagel-esque. Like, you could just annoy teams with that speed. And then you got Bedard trailing the whole time. It's like, I don't know. Like, they have so many options, and like the more I look at this draft, the less there's players that I have concerns with. Like, obviously, if they go like Anton Silyev at 2, yeah, I might have some questions, because
that's be interesting.
It would be interesting, yeah. Like, I trust this. This scouting department has earned the benefit of the doubt, to say the least. Like, I think these last 2 drafts have been very good, but it's just that'd be one that would be a little off the board for me. I think going Yzerman would be a little off the board for me personally.
I don't think they go Yzerman. Yeah,
I don't think so either.
Anyways,
and there might be
unless he drops with the Tampa pick.
Imagine. But if it's a Tampa pick, do not care whatsoever. But it leaves you in this very interesting situation where like you could just kind of pick whoever you want and just keep adding. And it's such a nice spot for the Hawks to be in right now. And I just really hope they don't just like they don't just stick to like the draft as their only approach. I really hope they pick up a couple guys in free agency as well. Not saying go sign someone to like a 6-year deal or something, but like there's got to be someone out there that wants 3 years and to live in Chicago and get to play with Bedard on power play. Like, you know,
Victor
there's people out
Arvidsson.
there. Daniel
my guy.
Sprong. Like I
Daniel
am
Sprong,
pounding.
yeah.
I am leading the Daniel Sprong to Chicago train. I don't care. Like that guy has been underused his entire career, and he can finally. Well, if Richardson likes him, he could finally come somewhere where he could be used.
Do you think he wore 88 in Chicago?
No,
I
not a
to give up
chance.
88.
Not a chance. I've actually done the. I've done the number crunching on this one. It really just depends on if Nazar wants to wear 91 or else I give Sprong 91. Because I think Nazar was wearing 22 when he goes to camp. And I'm like, I don't know, Nazar wearing Caulfield's number would be kind of sick. Like 22 on the ice, but also Nazar wearing 91 cool. So gangster. Yeah. Like, as well.
It is.
I don't know.
Those are the varies. Stats and numbers that really matter, folks. Yeah. Kind of going back, like looking at the future of this team, looking at the defense, you have your shutdown defensive of the future now with Alex Vlasic. I really hope they can get him locked up into some kind of Matthias Samuelsson deal. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Kevin Korchinski, he's had some rough moments. Like he's a 19-year-old defenseman in the NHL. You're seeing glimpses of brilliance, but then you're seeing him making kind of stupid decisions and, you know, him getting benched for it. But I like how Luke Richardson has handled Kevin Korchinski because he had, I think, a pinch that led to a 2-on-1 in that Ottawa game. Sound him for the rest of that second period, but then put him back on the ice. Like, I don't think you want to just keep playing them, but you also don't want to bench them the rest of the game. So I think that's like a good compromise. So, looking at the defense, you got potentially your number one offensive defenseman of the future with Korchinski. You already got your shutdown defenseman with Alex Vlasic. I mean, Seth Jones, again, we rag on him so much.
He's top
that's
four.
A guy.
He's top four.
He's at worst a top 4 defenseman. Absolutely. You look at the minors with Ethan Dalmastro, how well he's been doing with Rockford. Maybe Nolan Allen becomes something. Like, they have depth on the left side, and that's why I think someone like Artem Lushenov would really be a nice, you know, kind of final piece to that defense. And obviously still got Sam Renzel in college. So defense is fairly set. I mean, you can never have enough defensemen, but it's about as set as you can be. Like, you're seeing things come into formation here. Sorry.
I was just going to say, of course, and like, this is a good draft class. If you want to use one of those first on a defenseman, go for it. Like, obviously, I think we've talked about this situation. Like, if they go Levshunov at 2 or 3, like, you can take a forward at 13, 14, 15, whatever that Tampa pick is. Like, that's not an issue. So, yeah, sorry. I just wanted to point that out, that this is such a good defenseman class that, yeah, you should take that chance, even if we are pretty deep in the prospect pool.
Never have too many of them. And then I see guy, like, I'm looking at right-handed shots again. Like, it doesn't, like, you can make left-handed work on the right side, but you see the right-handed shots in this class. Obviously, Levshunov, Zane Perrick, I think that's how you say his name, who plays in the OHL. If you want to, another big defenseman, physical defenseman, you can go Carter Yakimchuk from the WHL. I believe he plays for the Hitmen. Like, there's a lot of options. Or, if you want to use that
seems
Tampa
like a
pick.
Davidson guy through and through, man. Tall WHL defenseman that can skate.
Yeehaw.
But the one that interests me a little bit, and I don't know, his stock has risen a lot lately, but Zeev Buium, I think is how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Like, he and Renzel were playing together in the U.S. World Juniors, and I'm just thinking, like, you recreate that shutdown pair in Rockford for like 2 years and then bring it to the NHL, then you have 3 shutdown defensemen. That could be a lot of fun. And also, it seems like he has a good two-way game, honestly. So
I was seeing Buium as more of an offensive defenseman, like rover kind of defenseman. I mean, again, you can't have too many mobile defensemen that skate the puck. Like, I'm saying, like, if he can get Vlasic and like Del Mastro or whoever else put alongside, put that as your shutdown pairing, have like Korchinski and Renzel. Like, again, there's so many possibilities with the depth they have right now. Getting another defenseman, again, can't have too many, and it would really help kind of finalize things.
Of course, yeah. Like, we I really do agree that if it's not with the first round pick, like, one of the first 3 picks should be a defenseman this draft, especially because your second is going to be so high. Like, let's just say they finish last. That's 33 overall.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a good pick to have. Like, who do we see go early this year? Like Gavin Brindley, I think, with 34th this year. Like, that's a heck of a player.
There's guys that are going to be there.
Andrew Cristal, like there's some great players that fall into day 2.
Adam Guyan.
Adam Guy. Like, listen, I was skeptical when they drafted Adam Guyan, but he has really proven himself.
The results are promising so far.
Exactly, but with the Gamblers, Green Bay Gamblers, I think is where he's playing as well.
I think he goes to college next year.
I'm excited to see what he does at the next level for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, it's so hard to get that Vasilevsky Hellebuck level of goal. Even I would throw Sorokin and Shesterkin and Saros in there. Ottinger. If you can get if you can get an Aiden Hill level goalie, you're fine.
We've seen so many teams win cups with a tandem now. I really feel like. I think Colorado's another good example. Like, yeah, Kemper was their starter, but he's not like a 60 game a year starter.
No.
Like who am I missing here? There's another team. Well, I mean, obviously Bennington wasn't really the starter when they won. Like, you just need a guy who's, and let's be honest, like, yeah, Crawford was the starter. Crawford was never top 3 in the league good.
No.
He was just good enough, and that's all you needed. Hell, he was great. He just wasn't elite. And you don't need an elite goalie. You just need a great goalie and you need a good backup, and that could get you a long way in this league. I mean,
potentially a Scott Darling if that goalie falters.
Heck yeah,
for
dude.
A round.
Like, I mean, Braden Holtby had a little bit more of a workload, but the year they won the cup was the year that Grubauer started kind of taking the load off him a little bit. Like, it's kind of the way the league's shifting a little bit when you think about it. Like, I'm very curious to see who wins the cup this year, because if it's another Aiden Hill situation, that might shift the way the league looks at goaltenders, honestly. And that's a good thing for the Hawks, because the Hawks have depth at net right now, it seems. They're having Mrazek for 2 more years. I think Comesso is going to get a look at some point next year. I don't think this year. You should.
Dude, the guy who scored a goal in the AHL and got shut out might get a look too.
Guy who owns a win over the Leafs and Blues, my fucking goat. Let's go.
Also has more career wins than Arvid Soderblom.
Yeah, but he hasn't beaten the Leafs twice.
Yeah. Couldn't make it out without making a joke like that.
Oh my god! Like, the best is, I don't want to like be negative, because it's been a pretty.
Don't want to dampen the mood.
Yeah, but like, it is really telling when you see people that don't watch the Hawks every game watch Arvid Soderblom.
Oh yeah, the people.
It kind of justifies your questions at times. It's like, okay, yeah, I know the defense kind of sucks, but like, gotta have that one. And then you look.
You make a save, man. Yeah,
you look at people who don't watch the Hawks and they're just like, man, this Soderblom guy just can't stop a puck, can he? It's like, yeah, it's kind of how it's been all year, man. It's tough, and it sucks too, because I really did like the fact that management thought he could be a starter, like their number one goalie. That's questionable, but I thought he could at least be a backup. He still could be. He's young, but it's been rough this year for him. That's for sure. He doesn't do him. He had a couple good games there last month, like at the end of January, but I don't know, man. It's at least.
He hasn't been consistent for like 5 straight starts is the problem. He'll have maybe 2 good games. You're like, oh, maybe he's, turning a new leaf, and then and then he'll like have a game where he just lets in 3 or 4 really soft goals and do that for the next few games. Just so it's not even inconsistent. He's just not good. Gone past that point of inconsistency.
Oh, man, it's rough. It sucks too, because obviously this organization believes in him, or else they wouldn't have sent him down already. Or maybe they just don't want to mess with Rockford. I really don't know what they want to do with that. But like, it's kind of like what we're about to get into with Reichel. It's just like his confidence is so effing shot right now.
He doesn't have any right now.
Literally, like, just go let him build some in Rockford. Like, we talk about this with goalies all the time. It's all mental half the time with the goalie. Like, I don't know. I really hope they can figure it out with him, because I think he could be a good asset to this organization, but time's running out on him, unfortunately.
Yeah. Kind of to touch on that Ottawa game, it's funny because the three main guys you would come to suspect like getting together that one with the Blackhawks, obviously Connor Bedard, Peter Mrazek, who stopped 40 of 42, and Jason Dickinson, who saw Connor Bedard, tie him for goals. Like, nah, I want to take the goal lead back, and he scored with like less than 2 minutes left. So that's about as typical of a Blackhawks win you're gonna get this year. Just to give Peter Mrazek more love and praise, his last 10 games has just 23 goals in those 10 games, 307 saves, 930 save percentage.
He's a beast, man.
He's so
And
good.
I just want to make a quick shout out to Jimmy Waite again. I feel like I do this once a show, but like the guy just is. It may not work on every goalie, but the ones it works on, he's the goaltending whisperer, dude. Like,
More
it's
often
crazy.
than not, it works out. Even past Crawford, even like obviously Fleury. Like, you don't have to do much with Marc-Andre Fleury, but he was great that season when he was there. Even that shortened season with Lankin and Subban, I thought they looked better more often than they didn't. And
Leonard too,
last
when he was
year,
there, like he had
Stalock last year, yeah, like Mrazek did have a rough start last year, but I feel that second half last year, that's when he really picked it up, and he's kind of continued that into this season as well.
Oh yeah, dude. Like I'm very glad they kept him because I just obviously you could have traded him, but I just don't. The goalie market is never what people think it is, and
No,
I don't think it's worth getting a second instead of
no.
having a goalie that you can rely on for 2 more years. Like that was a good investment by Davidson, in my opinion.
Well,
And
yeah,
oh
that's the
no, you
thing.
paid him too much. Don't care.
Mhm. Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like, oh, well, the goalie market is so weak. It's so hard to find goalies. Like, well, if you can't get the value, you might as well just keep them. There's the other end of that as well. Like, have that goalie. And if someone's really that desperate and they're giving, first round picks and top prospects, that's when you pull the trigger.
Of course, like I'm looking. There'll be a team that does it. It's just that I don't think Mrazek's the guy that they'll do that for. So
Oh yeah, there's
I
we already talked about this Jacob Markstrom potentially UC Saros. Yeah,
yeah, those are the guys that you do that for, and that's fine. That's fine.
we'll be fine having a 9-10 above goalie, which is right now that's like borderline elite with how offense is going in the NHL now. Like, that's above average at worst.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of insane how much goaltending has kind of taken a dip the last, I don't know, 5 years, you'd say, probably.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
yeah, sorry.
I was gonna say the fact that obviously Connor Bedard, the two other guys, Peter Mrazek and Jason Dickinson, the fact that Kyle Davidson got both of them as throw-ins for trades because he was taking on draft picks is actually incredible. Especially Peter Mrazek with the Maple Leafs and how they're struggling right now and how they could. The Maple Leafs would love what Mrazek is doing right now. I mean, Vancouver's fine without Dickinson, but man, you those trades you're looking for the draft picks. Not only do you get the draft picks, you got two guy impact players. You got a legitimate starting goalie, and knock on wood, who is finally starting to get healthy and find his confidence. And Jason Dickinson, who's a guy who I think on pretty much every team, any contending team, would be a third line shutdown defensive center who can chip in 15, 20 goals a year.
Yeah, man. They're legit pieces. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Honestly, like it.
And they've earned it.
Yeah, it's not one of those things where they're just throwing money around. Like these guys earned their deal, just like Athanasiou earned his last year. Like I know he hasn't been on the ice in a couple months, but like that's what he did last year. He earned that for 2-year extension, and everyone gave him crap. Everyone was like, "Why did they give him $4 million?" It's like because he has proven that he wants to be a part of what
He
they're
was
building.
2020 last year.
Mm-hmm. It's a good time though. It's a good time for the Hawks. The vibes are up, and now it's time to get into a little bit of the negative with Reichel. But we don't really have to get, like, this is something that should have happened a month ago. Like Lucas Reichel,
Easily, at least, yeah.
Lucas Reichel sent down to Rockford today. That obviously, like after an 8-game losing streak, that's kind of writing's on the wall. Like you were not getting back in the lineup after the last game. All the people saying that they've given him every chance I won't go that far because you gave him 3 games with Bedard and then threw him to the fourth
Which is what I
line.
think they should have done. But if you're not playing with Bedard, then you got to be having playing in the minors. You can't have him playing with Reese Johnson for Christ's sake.
Yeah, or like his most common line mate is Mackenzie Entwistle this year. That's a
No, that's not
problem.
going to cut it.
That's a
Yeah.
problem. I really hope he can gain that confidence back. He'll play with Gutman a lot. He's got good chemistry with him and Rockford. We keep talking about it. It's been a discussion point all year with Reichel, and I keep leaning towards he has this whole season to figure it out. That's always been the case, but it's one of those it's one of those things where if the team's playing better next year, I'm not saying they're a playoff team, and let's just say they're like finishing 10th and 10th last next year or 8th last or something, which is better than they are now. And Reichel's still not progressing, it might be time to cut your losses and make a trade. But that's months down the line. You really hope he can just figure it out and get in your system and be a solid middle six winger for this team. I just think the way they've gone about his development has been questionable at best or at worst. Like I genuinely they tried to play him at center for 20 games. This guy has proven he's not an NHL center like 2 years ago. We've known this. They really, you could say they've given him every chance, but
they've given him chances, but like to say they've exhausted every possible thing you can, that's not true.
Exhausting it would be gluing him to Bedard and power play 1 for a month, and they never even
Which they haven't
tried
done.
that.
They've done 3 games at most.
Yeah. It's and the game, like, for God's sakes, the last game he played, he got an assist. And it's like, oh, but it's about what he did in the second period. It's like, okay, well, if that's the case, then Taylor Radish should be in the press box for a week. Like, I'm so serious right now.
And a few
it's
other
ridiculous.
Blackhawks, yeah.
But he kills penalties. Okay, cool. There's like 8 guys on this team that can kill penalties. Like, I don't know, man. Like,
hey, that's another positive. Penalty kill has been really good.
Penalty kill's been amazing.
Stick that in there. Yeah.
Penalty kill's been incredible, but like, I don't think Taylor Radish is the straw that stirs the drink on the penalty kill. Like, he can go sit in the box a game because he hasn't done F all. Like, that was like the Ottawa game was probably the most noticeable game I've seen from him in like a month, and he didn't even do anything. He just had a couple scoring chances. Like, oh my God. It's whatever. It's whatever, though. Like, I get it. Radish had 20 goals last year. He had the benefit of the doubt, but I don't know, man. I just think the 21-year-old's a little more important to your future than this 25-year-old who hasn't proven anything to you or has proven some stuff to you. But this year has been below replacement level, and Boris Tkachuk's about to outpace him in points. So, I don't know. You tell me. But yeah, let's keep giving him, top 6 minutes, power play time, all this shit that we should be giving the players that are going to be here in 3 years. Whatever, man. This turned into a Taylor Radish hate train, but it's whatever. Like, I think it's just a frustration from Reichel. Like, we saw what he could do last year, man. We really did.
The fact he had more points in his 25 game sample last year than he does in 50 games this year. It's so.
Was Andreas
what do you even say?
Really that important to this team?
I was gonna bring that up. I was gonna bring that up. I really do think Athanassiou being out, hasn't helped his case, but also just again, you see the skill. Like, he's better than 10 points in 50 games, and it could be just as simple as he's having a shitty year and everything.
Sorry, I didn't know it was 10 and 50. I knew it was bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah.
Like, I know he's like 1% on the JFresh chart, which is always great, but like, oh man. Sorry, I didn't know it was that bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, it is, and it's almost at the point where it's like it's so bad. It's like, okay, we've seen such a track record with him. Maybe he's just had a shitty year. Maybe he didn't have the proper off season, the proper training, or whatever. And once you come into next year, maybe him being kind of lower on the totem pole in terms of their young players, them having more talent to play around. Maybe that's when he'll flourish. That's what I'm hoping. I still think he can be, a middle 6 guy who goes on your power play, maybe gets 50, maybe even 60 points. But we've been, it feels like we've been talking about this for almost 3 months now. Like, how much more rope does he have? We said coming into the new year, well, that maybe he could turn anew and have a hot stretch and, kind of put everyone's mind on at ease, and he's done even worse. Like, it's just, oh, it's so bad. I hope he finds his confidence in Rockford. Like, I don't really know what else to say. Like, there's no point in shitting on the guy or saying he's bad. He might just be as simple as he's having a bad season and he figures it all out next year and everything's fine. But then that goes the other way. Maybe he's just not that good of a player, and maybe like he's a first round pick, and you assume at worst out of a first round pick, you're having a guy who can be, like a third line or, a bottom pairing defenseman who can contribute to your lineup. I mean, maybe he just simply doesn't do that in Chicago and they trade him. Maybe they get another piece back. I don't know. But all
I
I can
mean,
say is right now, I hope he just goes, not like crazy. Let's not set the bar high, but I just hope he finds his confidence in Rockford.
I do too. And like you talk about like having a short leash, and I just like we give him a good leash, but like I'm very concerned of where the organization is with him right now. And
Yeah.
if they don't see,
Seems
because
like Richardson is out on him just from,
yep,
yeah.
yeah, I was just gonna say that, and I think that at the end of the day, and this is like a tale as old as time with sports. This regime did not draft him,
Mm-hmm.
and he's not putting up a performance like an Alex Vlasic, who was a Bowman pick, that they can say, "Oh, this is the guy." He's shown flashes, but like it's not something that you can rely on, and it's very
No.
unfortunate. But like I'm looking at this draft class right now, right? That he was in. Reichel went 17th overall in 2020. And I'll just go the next. We'll go to pick 26. All right. We'll go to the next like 8 picks, right? Dawson Mercer, who we all like this podcast is well aware. I was a big Dawson Mercer fan back in
I
the
was too.
draft.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, but I think that
I
was like
thought
the
that's who
toss
they
up.
were going to go.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
toss up was like him or Reichel. That was who we all thought. And Mercer's got like 125 points in 200 games. Like he's been great, and he's having a down
Damn,
year this year,
really?
but he has 15 goals. So like
That's more
that's
than Lucas Reichel has points. Not to pile on the guy, but
it's
yeah.
the guy who got picked to pick after him. And like I don't want to be this guy, but like we will keep going down the board. Braden Schneider was the pick right after that. That guy has played. Like, he's not great. Been an NHL
He's
defenseman for
playing
2.5 years
on a good
now.
team. Yeah.
Yep, on a good team. Yeah, you make a very good point there. You make a very, very good point. He'd probably be playing like second pair on this crappy team. Like the next pick is Shakir Mook Muhammad Doolin. I don't know how to say.
Doolin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the guy they traded to
To
San
the
Jose in
Sharks
the
for
Timo
money.
Meyer
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
I won't say that like he hasn't cracked the league yet. Not going to talk on him yet. Igor Chinikov, clearly an NHL player. Like he has taken major steps this year with the Columbus Blue Jackets, but no one knew
And
that
no
he
one
was going
even
to
knew
be
who the
that.
hell he was when they picked him.
I'm not
Remember
even going to
that?
give them. Yeah, I'm not even going to give them slack for that one. Like that's one of Yarmo's only hits. Like broken clocks
Out
right
of
twice
Stan
a day.
Bowman trades. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
More
then
on that later.
Hendrix Lapierre, he's fine. But the next 3 are the big ones. Tyson Forster, actual NHL player on the Flyers, has been for 2 years.
Under John Tortorella.
Mm-hmm. Connor Zary looks like a player, has looked great on the Flames this year as a rookie. Granted, it's his rookie year, so we don't know what it'll look like fully, but he looks like a player. And then Justin Barron, I think he's on the Habs now. Yeah, he got traded for Lehkonen, I'm pretty sure, but he's playing NHL games too. And then the last one I wanted to name was Jake Neighbors, who went to the Blues, and we all know Jake Neighbors.
Oil Kings legend Jake Neighbors, and of course he's on the Blues.
Heck yeah, feller, and he's actually been pretty solid for the Blues. And it's just one of those things where like
kills the Blackhawks too, of course.
Yep. Murdered Peter Mrazek shutout at the game we went to. But I really hate to be the guy that like hindsight 2020 type thing, but it's just we're at the point where these guys are getting to the NHL in this draft class, and he's just getting passed by his peers, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And that's mainly the main point I was trying to make, but it's just like we couldn't really do this a year ago because I don't think a lot of these guys were like solidified NHLers.
We're starting to get to that point, yeah.
Yeah.
These guys, some guys, a lot of these guys are taking off, and some aren't, and are kind of just stuck there. And again, maybe Reichel does that next year, and
Maybe he's
I
our Ridley Greig next year. Who knows? Who went 28th overall in this draft?
oh my god.
Sorry.
Yeah, Reichel just like, you know what? I'm not gonna be a skill guy. I'm just gonna be an annoying piece of shit,
He's gonna
and
take
it
slap
works out
shots at empty netters.
against the Blues. Could you imagine?
Please. And then
Yeah,
Robertson.
but then there's the other end of that. Like I'm not saying like you're invalid, but I remember me personally doing that. I remember when Nick Robertson came onto the scene as like a 19, 20-year-old, and I'm like, oh, of course the Blackhawks passed up on him and took Alex Vlasic, and now looking how, of course Robertson has had injury issues, and the Leafs haven't really played him that much. And but like just seeing how Vlasic has developed into a legitimate top pairing shut down defenseman, it's sometimes it takes a few years, but yeah, right now it's really bleak with Lucas Reichel.
No, you're 100% correct. And I don't, this is not me trying to write off Lucas Reichel.
Yeah.
Lucas Reichel could come back next year, and if he puts up fucking 35 points, I'm ecstatic. Like, you're an NHL player then. That's a usable player in this league. Like, if he turns into Kasperi Kapanen, I'm over the moon. You know what I mean? Just
If he
speedy
has
winger.
courage, if he has like Kurashev product, that's another guy where me personally, I was like, okay, Kurashev, yeah, you had, good juniors, but what do you do at the NHL level? Like, he really wasn't producing, but now he kind of just seems like a jack of all trades, but not, elite and everything. But we talk about who could be Connor Bedard's line mates for the future, and not all the time do you have this superstar alignment. Like, look at Crosby with Chris Kunitz. Look at McDavid with Zach Hyman, I think, is a
That guy's
legit
a
player
good
in his own
player.
right.
But like
Yeah,
Pat
but
Maroon,
you
his
look at
first couple of
Crosby,
years.
all the line mates he had with Chris Kunitz, Pascal Dupuis. Won't mention Connor Sherry because he is elite in his own right, and Brian Rust has grown to be elite. But you know what I mean? Like, Phil Kershev legitimately could be Connor Bedard's line mate for the next decade if all goes well. And like, there's no reason right now to suggest he can't be. So
Yeah, only time will tell, and time's on his side. This team is in no position to compete in the next 2 years.
nope.
So
Mm-mm.
if they want to play the long game with Reichel and like they did with Kershev and stuff, they 100% can. It's just up to management at this point. Honestly, I don't really know where their hand lies, and I'm hoping that this is just a sign that they want to get them going of sending them down to Rockford, not just like a last stitch effort before the end of the season, because that'd be pretty unfortunate in my opinion.
Yeah, the best time to do it would have been probably, I'd say, a month ago. The second best time was now.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah, again, we don't want to bring the vibes down too much, but I genuinely hope Reichel gets going again. But I don't know. Anything else to touch on the Blackhawks right now? Because I think we covered everything. Like, again, this team has lost so many games. It's hard to, say how many times can you say over and over this team sucks. It was nice to see them get a win. I saw Ben Pope tweet saying that they're like 11-0 against the Senators since 2017 Ottawa.
That checks out. That
Yeah.
checks out.
You know what? The one game I remember in there is that 8-6 crazy game they played. I think it would have been early 2019.
Yep, that was when they were on their PDO bender in the second half of the year, where Kane had 110 points. I remember that one. I think it was.
I think that's yeah. Dylan, didn't Strom have a hat trick too?
No, he might have
Panic?
had 3 assists.
No, it wouldn't be Panic. I'm thinking of another time.
No.
I swear there was a game where
they've
two
gotten
of them
a lot
had
of hat tricks against the Sens.
Yeah.
All right, no, you're thinking of 2018 when Panic had a hat trick and then Schmaltz almost had a hat trick too. He like cranked one off the crossbar.
That's probably what I'm thinking.
And like Taves had 2 goals or something. I don't know, dude. They've played extremely well against the Senators the last couple of years. Like that's a team that the Sens just don't stack up against for some reason.
Oh wait, I mean, yeah, playing against a cup contender like the Ottawa Senators, yeah, they've done such a great job. Fuck, what else was I to say? Oh yeah. To bring the vibes down again, 2018-19 to me is probably their biggest missed opportunity of the year. They didn't make the playoffs. I really think had they got in with Taves and Kane going, them having DeBrincat and Strome on their second line, defense was awful. But even like Keith and Gustafson getting points, Like they
It would have
had
been
if
like the
Crawford was
Jets teams the last couple of years.
like if Crawford was in there, I feel like they could have at least, won a round. No, we're not going to win the cup, but at least we could have said we won a legitimate playoff series, like what with Taves and Kane in their second contract. But anyways, let's talk about let's transition to another team that has failed and has only won one playoff round under this guy's regime until he got fired last week. So we were excited to talk about the Blackhawks today. We were excited to talk about Connor Bedard. But Schmitty, you were texting me earlier. You were excited to get on this rant about Jarmo Kekalainen. So I want to hand the floor to you here.
Like 3 years too late. I don't know. Like I don't
As
know.
soon as Stan Bowman lost his job, that's when Jarmo Kekalainen should have lost. Yeah, it's almost 3 years now. Yeah.
How long have we
out.
said that? Like, how long have we
Mhm.
said since Bowman's been canned? Like, Kekalainen, you're on watch now because
Thin
you're
ice.
the guy that saved your ass for the last 5 years is not here anymore. So, and it's one of those situations with Kekalainen where, like, I feel like he did a lot of stuff right at the time, but
There's a lot. There's a lot worse messes the team could have been left in than the Columbus Blue Jackets are in right now. Like, I think of when Kyle Davidson came on his job in early 2022, just how much of a barren wasteland it was for assets and prospects, and how much he's built that up in the last couple of years. Anyways, I'll let you continue.
Yeah, no, that's mainly the point. Like, they had this position in 2019 where they obviously weren't going to extend everyone, traded off, got their assets. And then I feel like right after the COVID year, everything kind of just went into a flux for them. Like, as soon as Seth Jones said he wasn't going to sign back,
The
obviously
vibes were off.
the vibes were off. They traded Dubois for Line, which like everyone on paper thought was great, and Roslovic, I guess I should say it was both of them.
I
But
thought that was such a good trade for both sides, really, to be honest.
yeah,
And look how
like
that's played out.
oh man, it's just like Line hasn't been bad there, but also like he can't stay healthy.
He's been going through some stuff. Like,
Well,
I hope
now it's personal stuff.
Yeah.
That's completely different. But I was more speaking
Mhm.
of the 2 years prior where he just was
Yeah.
hurt a couple times. But yeah, 100%. This year, it's we're not even going to get into the off ice stupid fan stuff that's going on with the Blue
Oh,
Jackets.
my
I'm so
lord.
glad like a good cause has come out of it and all these donations are
I
going.
don't want to
to it.
go on a side rant, but I'm starting to be more sympathetic to people to these players that don't really show personality. Like, I get why NHL players don't show personality now. Like, remember Patrick Laine, like coming into the NHL, like everyone was like, "Oh, this guy's cocky, but he can score goals," and he was someone who showed personality. In Finland, he was a superstar. Like, I remember watching that draft, they're like, "Oh, he's so much of a superstar." Like, people were following whether he passes it, his
Line
license, his
versus
driver's
Matthews.
test.
That was
Mhm.
that
That
was the
was a
thought.
legitimate thing too, and he backed it up in Winnipeg. He's a 40 goal scorer. I feel like we've been robbed of a line, and I genuinely hope whatever problems he's going through, he gets better and becomes a better player because of it. But now I see why him, like, what was it, where he shaved his head or like grew out a beard or something like that, and now he's kind of strayed away from that. Now I see why young players like him kind of like go away from the spotlight, because we get losers like that. But anyways, we'll go back to your other rant here. That's not about
No,
assholes.
you're making more of the points that I want to make. Honestly, it's like the talent has been here. The talent has always been here. It's the fact of putting it all together, and I think that I didn't like the. So we go back to the 2021 draft, right? That was like their big sell off draft. They have 3 first-round picks. They pick Kent Johnson. They pick Cole Sillinger, lol, with the
Mhm.
Hawks pick, and then they pick Carson Coolmans, and that was like their
Mhm.
big draft that year. It's like, okay, we're starting to rebuild off.
We're
Let's
starting
go.
fresh. That's like Yarmo's second life there.
Yeah, it was, and he did a pretty good job at the time. We all thought, and we're looking at 3 years down the line. You've knee jerked Sillinger and Johnson to the point to where they can't get confidence at the NHL level.
Yo-yoing up and down,
Carson
up and
Coolmans
down,
hasn't even sniffed the NHL,
which is probably
and
good.
on top
Good
of
thing.
that, you should just be grateful that Adam Fantilli's hurt right now because you'd be screwing up his development too, putting him on the wing. And we can go even further in the fact that they're putting David Juracek and knee jerking him up and down when David Juracek has clearly proven he is an NHL defenseman. I'm sorry, man. Like, I am just so fed up with the way treat their prospects.
Awful.
It's unbelievable.
Terrible.
For a team that needs these young players to be a part of this core and take these, because here's the thing. I love the talent Columbus has. I love Johnny Gaudreau. I love Zach Werenski, like Patrick Laine. They have such great players on this team. They aren't catalysts. They need catalysts to come from their prospects. And for the longest time, I'm like, okay, they got Ken Johnson. This dude's lighting it up in Michigan. He is clearly a top-line winger if you play him right. So what do? Glue him to center and try to make him a center. Never was a center in college. Never was a center. I can't.
And if he was, he wasn't very good.
He wasn't very good.
Yeah.
Tried to make him a center. Didn't work. Tried to play him on the second line. Didn't work. All right, let's just throw him in the AHL for a bit. Oh, he's overpointing the game in the AHL? All right, let's yank him back up for 10 games. Oh, it's not working for some reason? Oh, let's throw him right back down. Like, I am so fed up. Like, I feel so bad for these prospects right now. Like, how am I supposed to get confidence in this organization if my effing GM will not even trust me for a month on the team? Let alone the coach. Like, we haven't even gotten into that situation, for God's sake.
Oh.
Like, I'll go as far back as firing Torts, because I am going to go that far back. Like, this is like,
that's the same timeline of that 2021 draft where I feel for better for worse.
There. It all starts there. It all starts at the Seth Jones trade, which is crazy to think about how both teams have lost this trade 3 years down the line, but they have. Oh my gosh. Like, you fire Tortorella. Okay, that's fine. We always talk about it. Tortorella has a shelf life. That's okay. Coaches have shelf lives. So what do you do with a team that has talent already? Well, I would think first thing I would do, go get a veteran coach. Go get someone who can get these players
new
to
voice
better.
that has been there before that can guide them along. Yeah.
Well, they heard voice in the room before. They just meant their room because they promoted Brad Larson. And oh yeah, guys, he's not making us play this, stalwart defensive style. Okay, so we're 31st defensively in the league. You're ruining Adam Boquist, who was the main piece you took from Chicago in that trade. Not even getting into that.
Oh, we could spend another hour on that Seth Jones trade. That could be a separate podcast.
It's unbelievable. Like, you look at their misuse of assets and the fact that they wanted to shift to this offensive style, but won't trust their offensive players enough, or just push them way too early. For God's sakes, I'm pretty sure Cole Sillinger was in the NHL as an 18-year-old. That should have never
good.
And he was fine, but it should have never fucking happened in the first place.
Should have happened? No. Yeah.
Oh my God. And now he's getting shoved up. Like, I think he's finally starting to find a little bit of confidence at this level, but it's, I don't know, man. There's
after
not
he
enough.
lost his girlfriend, Tate McRae. I just had to bring that in
like,
there.
Poor guy. Fucking, that's all anyone's gonna know him for now. Not so he better get really good at hockey, or else that's all anyone's gonna know him for.
Oh man,
it's so frustrating, dude. It's so frustrating. Like, this team, if they picked a direction that they wanted to go. And this even leads into last offseason. Like, last offseason, if they just stayed the course, they would have had 2 firsts last year. They would have 3 seconds, I want to say. And they could have just stocked the cupboard even more. Fantilli fell into their effing lap at 3. And that's nothing against Leo Carlsson. Leo Carlsson looks like a damn good NHL player.
Superstar. Yeah.
But at the time, it was Fantilli fell into your effing lap. Period.
Fantilli's also a superstar, or will be a superstar.
Fantilli's great. You just don't play him right because you tried to
play him on the wing.
Effing Babcock the second time. Didn't even get into that. Yeah. So we did the Larson experiment for 2 years. Doesn't fucking work. Teams all the way at the bottom. It makes no sense why they're losing at the rate they're losing. You fire him. That's understandable. You right your wrongs and go get a veteran. It's a great veteran offseason. You got guys like Gallant on the market. You got guys like Boudreaux on the market. You got guys like Laviolette on the market. You got all these great veteran coaches on the market. So what do? You go get the guy who got fired for not working well with young players 8 years ago when we found out these young players are very effing good. One's a effing Rocket winner and a Hart winner. Yeah, let's bring him in. Hasn't been in the NHL for
surely that's the worst thing he's done. And
surely that's the worst thing he's done. Surely that's not the actual reason he's blackballed from the league for 4 years. Yeah, sure. Okay. Oh yeah, what's that? He fucking actually is just the worst piece
Mentally
of shit on earth.
abused. Yeah.
Yeah, and fucking creates goddamn demon child assistant coaches that turn out to kick people in the back of the head on the bench. Yeah, we can get
And
into
be
further
racist.
detail on that one too. Oh,
Yeah.
and a fucking bona fide racist. Forgot about that one, Pierce. Thank you very much.
Bona fide racist.
Thank you very much. We got to add that one to the full too. Got to have that in your organization after you just signed Johnny Gaudreau to the biggest contract in Columbus Blue Jackets history, right? Got all this good fucking. That day really just sums up everything, doesn't it? You signed Johnny Gaudreau. This is an awesome signing. That's great. You also signed Erica Branson to 4x4. There was absolutely no need for that, especially after trading for Provorov. And then you trade for Provorov and Severson the year after. Dude, there's so many fireable offenses this guy has done in the last 3 years. Like, he should just be grateful Stan Bowman gave him a long leash. Like, I swear to God, I don't mean to just keep bouncing all over the place, but there are just so many things this guy has done with this organization that make my brain melt, especially in such a competitive division as the Metro, where you are watching teams like the Devils do exactly what you were trying to do and succeeding at it. Granted, they got a first overall pick twice. I understand that. Whatever.
The funny part is those first overall picks aren't the reason why they're doing it well.
Dude, look at Dallas. Dallas has not had a single one, and they're a fucking bona fide contender. Like, look at LA. Yeah, they don't have a goalie. They have everything else, basically. Like, this team should not be as bad as it is. Period.
No.
Period.
And they aren't. They totally aren't. It's the team, the people that are running this team. To wrap up on Mike Babcock, because we just love talking about Mike Babcock. I remember when they were in the process of hiring, when they hired them, Kekalainen was like, well, we talked around to everyone to see if he could be our head coach, whether he was the guy for our head coach. And I remember, I think he talked to Ken Hitchcock, who, a fellow head coach and someone, who's been around the NHL for a while. Of course, he said, "Yeah, hire him."
Ken Hitchcock has been out of the league for 5 years.
Did you ever think, instead of confirmation bias, to go, talk to the players like Johan Franzen, to talk to someone like Chris Chelios, who I'm pretty sure that's what we could go so deep down the rabbit hole, but I'm tired of this thing of like, oh, players are just so soft. When you have Chris Chelios saying, a guy who played in the 80s and the 90s, saying, yeah, it's kind of a manipulative asshole, then you should know that he is just that. So that's, if I'm taking PR into consideration while hiring a general manager, I don't want Jarmo Kekalainen based just off that. So
100%. And the guy will get a job in the league again. It's the
NHL. You look at like the drafting, he's hit more often than he has in the trades. Well, I mean, when you got Stambo in the NHL, who fucking knows? He might have a job too, so maybe that'll the day Stan Bowman gets back to the NHL, a team's gonna hire Jarmo Kekalainen. Like, go vote him now.
better go take him out to dinner right now, sir.
And I was texting Rose this. How crazy the Columbus Blue Jackets, like, they're not a team that goes crazy with money. They're a smaller market team. John Davidson is still there. Do you think? I don't want this to happen, but I really think them getting Stan Bowman would be a possibility. I mean, look what they've done with Mike Babcock. John Davidson obviously signed off on that too. They don't care about, the optics. This guy has won 3 Stanley Cups and, made a couple good trades here and there. That's all they're going to be looking at that. And they can't prove me otherwise until they, do something otherwise.
I agree. I just really think that you can't make 2 bad PR signings in a row.
No.
I don't think you could do that. Oh my God. Oh my God. That'd be so bad.
It would be funny though. I mean,
it'd be hilarious. Like, as a hater, I'd be dying laughing, but as a normal person, like, please no.
Yeah.
Like, can we not?
There are 2 parts inside of you. It's that Timmy Turner me, please God, let this happen.
So what does that mean? Like, Adam Fantilli's going to get traded for, like, I don't know. Okay. Let's go pure Stan Bowman. All right. So Adam Fantilli's going to get traded for Artemi Panarin on the last 2 years of his deal because we need to bring him back to bring back the glory days. There we go.
Hell yeah. And We'll trade Ken Johnson to Florida for Sergei Bobrovsky.
Nah, they'll trade him to Chicago for Lucas Reichel. It's all good. We'll take him.
Real.
We'll take him off
Cole
your hands.
Sillinger,
You
he's
don't have
coming to
worry about it.
Chicago.
You know what? You can have Connor Murphy too while we're at it. How about that? And then we'll take Gavin
No,
Britton.
Stan Bowman goes to Columbus, trades, redoes the Seth Jones trade.
Imagine. I want him back. I signed that contract. He's mine. Oh, man.
You're gonna leave that revolving clause here to like it.
I just. Oh, all right. I'm gonna pull up Columbus's cap friendly because I'm genuinely curious. Just like, if I want to get this job, I feel like they're closer to the ceiling than they are to the floor right now, cap wise. All right, they have 12 million.
They've spent some money, yeah.
But that's
with
also like they
Provorov,
have Line A on LTIR. No, the bullshit. Okay, so they're right at the fucking cap, and they have okay. So they're right at the cap. They have almost nothing in terms of forward depth signed long term besides Gaudreau. They have Jenner and Line A for Line A 2 more years after this, and Jenner 2 more years after this. They have
they might trade by the way.
End of time, like. Provorov is like, what are we doing with this hockey team? Like, if I am a GM, or if I'm like Matthew Darsh or Eric Tolsky, who's everyone's favorite buzzword GM to say that's Matthew get the job. Yeah, see you later, Darsh.
Like, think you could race me, Darsh?
Dude, this team is such a tire fire. They have so much money tied up on this defense. Like, how has Andrew Peeke not been traded yet? Like, Jake Bean makes $2.3 million, and I'm pretty sure he's played like 15 games this year. Like, it's unacceptable. 50. How the hell has he played 50 games? Someone has had to have been hurt. There's no way.
How many points?
Is it Boquist is the one that's the odd man out? Has to
I
be.
think so,
yeah. 23 games for Boquist. That makes sense. Okay, so what? Like, this is the point, though. They have like 8 defensemen making over $2 million. That's not a sustainable strategy. But yeah, guys, Yarmo's a genius. Clearly, the league will be better with him out of it. That's all I'm going to say. He had his chance to correct his wrongs. He didn't. He just doubled down. Like every GM does. We're going to see Rob Blake do that soon. Sorry.
Yeah. I was going to say, kind of like Bowman, he had 2 chances to clean up his own mess, and strike 3, you're out.
He did strike 3 and 4. He's like, I'm going to create the 4th strike just because. I don't care.
But yeah, once, a general manager comes in, like, even like a Matthew Darsh, like,
see you later, Darsh.
See you later, Darsh. That's what Tampa Bay says to him when he leaves. I'm pretty sure that's where he is right now.
Dude, he's never leaving. Like, we have had this talk with Darsh and Tolsky for 3 years now. They are not leaving. There are those people that are just waiting for the promotion for Breezewall. You know what I mean? Or the promotion for who's the GM for Carolina right now?
Don Waddell.
Yeah, when Waddell gets promoted to president or some shit.
Well, we've seen that with the Avs with Chris McFarland's the GM now instead of Sakic. Yeah, Vegas with McCrimmon and not George McPhee. Yeah, that's true. You're so right with that. That might even have that. Yeah.
Sorry.
Who wouldn't want to manage those teams? There's a reason why they're always, competing for Stanley Cups, unlike the Blue Jackets. Yeah, there's pieces, man. There could be worse situations to walk into as a general manager, but yeah, there's they still got a 1st round pick. They don't have a 2nd round pick, which they traded him for Ivan Provorov. Oh man,
it's bad, dude.
What do you do?
What do you do? Sell, yeah. And they're not going to. I keep saying it. Like, Andrew Peeke should have been traded to Edmonton yesterday for a 1st round pick. Like, this Ivan Provorov needs to get traded again so you get assets. This is not a guy you extend. Like, he's not fitting the window this team is going to be in. This window should be built around Adam Fantilli right now, and only and Adam Fantilli and David Jiricek.
And Jiricek.
Yeah, I meant to mention Jiricek. Also, don't think it's happening now. I think that'll happen at the draft. But like Merz Lincolns, you're going to have to find that trade before the season starts next year. He can't be on the team next year. He clearly doesn't want to be on the team next year. dude, like Roslovic, like if you could trade him at the deadline, gotta, because he'll walk. Like Sean Corrali's a guy I'm thinking you trade if you can retain half, but also he's got trade protection. Like even you might get a little crazier here. Like you might look at your trajectory and think like, oh, if we're gonna go max value, like trade a Marchenko, which I don't think you want to do. He's 23, like he could
No,
fit your window, but
yeah,
like you have to have those questions now because you've had such a nonchalant approach to building your team for the last 4 years, and that's the GM they bring in will be telling. Let's just put it that way.
mm-hmm.
Either they're going to double down on trying to be good, which is stupid, or they're going to sell off and try to right the wrong they made last offseason, which was thinking that they're even remotely close to contending in the Metro.
Yeah, I think they need stability. Like you need a general manager, you need a new voice as general manager, you need a new coach. Like you need to know what your coach is, what kind of system you want to play, keep the players that can play within that. I mean, I don't think you should sell off the whole team, obviously, but if it's a UFA, they're 1 year left, they don't want to be in Columbus, like ship them out, get some assets, get some draft picks for the draft, and identify which pieces you want to use going forward. Who are some like Johnny Gaudreau? He has no movement clause. They're not going to trade him. Jack Roslovic, 1 year left, trade him. Boone Jenner is probably the most interesting one because again, you want to keep leadership there. That's your captain. He's been there for a while. But I mean, if you get the assets for a trade, the center market is weak. Do you move on from him? I don't know.
Jenner can
Sean
get you
Cor-
a haul right now, too.
Even Sean Corelli's in that conversation. He's not as good as Jenner, but like he's a center, 2 years left. I mean, Alexander Texia, I'm pretty sure. Like, I don't know. Like,
They're
but like,
they're I was just gonna say they're in a spot where you either gotta sell or you gotta make a decision this trade deadline, even if you don't have a GM. Like I know
mm-hmm.
Davidson's making the shot. I think Davidson's calling the shots this deadline, right? John
Yeah,
Davidson
he
is.
is for the rest of the year, which I don't even think is. I mean, he knows the team he's part, so I get that. You're not going to find a general manager 2-3 weeks ahead of the deadline. That's not good. Not
Yeah,
smart, I should say.
for sure. And like honestly, they could play their if they play their cards right. Like let's say Calgary trades Hanifin and Tanev, you have the best defenseman on the market then in order to like Provorov and peak. But like I just really feel like if Davidson might be one of these guys that's just like, we traded for Provorov. We're going to stick with our guns. It's just like, no, it's clearly failing. You need to trade him. And Provorov
Yeah.
hasn't even been bad this year. It's just like, this isn't a guy you signed to 8 years at 29 or 27 years old. He will be 29 when his deal's up. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I just think
I don't envy this situation. Just be
no.
lucky you have Fantilli. That's all I'm gonna
Yeah,
say.
like that's what I was saying. There's pieces there. I think you need to identify who's going to be part of this team going forward. Adam Fantilli, absolutely. Kirill Marchenko, absolutely. He's been good enough. I would even add Chinikov to that. What I'm questioning is Kent Johnson as Cole Sillinger. You either need to give them a role, you need to play them in the top six, or you trade them. You can't just keep yo-yoing them up and down. And likewise with David Yurchek. Looking at the defense, like Zach Werenski, you're keeping there because he's got no movement clause. But Ivan Provorov, 2 years left. You could right that wrong there, and maybe call up one of your defensemen instead. Hey, let David Yurchek play. I think Matejchuk is still in the CHL, so they can't call him yet, which is probably a good thing. You don't want to ruin his development. But yeah, identify who is going to be part of your team, and if you just like, I'm looking at Adam. Is Adam Boqvist going to be part of the future here? I don't think so. Get rid of him.
No.
Get Yeah, but I don't know
This
what
is
to
the
do this
problem,
team, but I
though.
can. Yeah, they have
Sorry.
a whole lot of mid. It's the problem. They're not horrible. Like they have pieces, but it's just like a bunch of mid. What do you do? I don't know, but I can say for fact that
It's
Columbus is gonna be a.
it's mid with term. It's the
Mm-hmm.
sorry, I was gonna say it's mid with term. It's the worst combination you could possibly have. Like, oh, jeez. Oh, when is Severson
Yeah,
locked up
sometimes
to
there's just situation where like I
2031?
don't really know how to fix this, but I can say for certain that Columbus is going to be a fun team to watch ahead of the trade deadline. I would say particularly. once the offseason hits around the draft.
Oh, they're gonna be a hot
Them in
team at the
Ottawa.
draft. I gotta think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just like 3 years ago all over again. How about that? 2 years ago, whatever. Um, some things never change, dude. Holy smokes!
No.
This is just a team that like you should have at least 3 major moves done at the deadline, and they're not gonna do it, and it's just gonna prolong this team's mediocrity. It's unfortunate. And like the one thing I just kept that came to my mind that I wanted to mention is like this is a team that's been notorious to not spend up to the salary cap. Like, are they even going to be down to retain salary to like trade some of these pieces?
Probably not, no.
Because like we're hearing this with Calgary right now, like they didn't want to retain on Markstrom, even though they would get them a better haul. Like these teams don't want to pay extra money, and if that's the case, like you're even more screwed. Like I promise you,
or maybe the worst.
Sorry.
I was gonna say maybe even the worst part is your owner not wanting to trade away their first round pick because you'll be able to select a player in your own building that you made.
Yeah, like this league is so backwards, it's not even funny. Like, dude, I'm looking at this team right now, and it's just like, okay, if you really wanted to maximize your assets, you trade Boone Jenner half retained for 2 first-round picks. Like that's what
they
you
want to
do.
do that. Yeah.
No, they don't because they want their captain. Hell,
I'll even go as half retained.
Dude, I'll even go as far to say some team will take Eric and Branson half retained if you tried that. Like you'd actually get a haul retained. For that. Yeah, you get a haul for that. Like a haul better than a conditional 7th, which is what you should get. I don't know. David like you could get creative with this, but they're not going to. That's basically the point I'm trying to allude to.
Yeah, I don't know how to don't know how to wrap that up, but that is such a fascinating situation there in Columbus.
Yeah, I don't envy it whatsoever.
Nope. And
but don't worry, they extended Justin Danforth, so they're good.
Get excited, Blue Jackets Nation. Yeah, this is gonna take a while. This is not gonna be solved before the trade deadline. Like this won't be solved after. This is probably not gonna be solved until the offseason. They need to hire a coach that's good, and there's guys out there to do that. I don't know what they do for their general manager, but there's also guys out there for that. Put that in place first and then start identifying which players you want to keep. But the guys that have 1 year left, get rid of them. And if you get good offers for guys that have multi-years left, like again, Boone Jenner, that center market is weak, get rid of them. I mean, yeah, it's hard. He's your captain, but maybe you got to start anew here, get a new culture, and same with Provorov and so on and so forth. Any guys with no movement clauses, you're keeping, or any guys without no movement clauses, get rid of them.
Yeah, man, you have to. You just have to. Like that's. Yeah, there's in theory there should not be an asset over 30 on this roster come 2 years from now, but there will be, and it's just because of the way it's unfortunately the mess that Kekalainen left them. Like I just said, Severson's locked up at 6.25 till 2031. I cannot see a world where that ends well. Like
it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. like, oh yeah, I can't wait to extend David Jiricek. Oh wait, we can't give him $10 million because we're giving Severson 6.25. Guess we'll have to bridge him and then let him walk in 2 years,
and then trade him to the Blackhawks for 7th.
Dog, I'm telling you, this is not a situation I'd want to be in as a GM, and I'm very curious to see who takes it. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, someone will. Like, it's a great opportunity, but. I don't know, man. If you have options, why the hell are you going here? It's like in football, like everyone was like, why would you go to Carolina when the GM or the owner's a fucking crazy person and they don't have their first round pick this year? Like, it's one of those situations, like, except it's not ownership. It's just the previous GM left you in a horrible situation. Well, not horrible. Like you said, there are pieces, but it should not be this bad. It should not be.
It's a big puzzle with a lot of pieces that are all over the place right now.
Facts.
If you're able to put it all together, that's gonna be one nice looking puzzle. But it's in a huge mess right now, and you gotta start piecing things together.
Yes, sir.
I like that analogy that I made.
That was a good one.
Well, let's go on to, I guess, a lighter note. Phil Kessel is practicing with the Abbotsford Canucks. Um, no, there's not anything imminent, but Canucks could use a guy like Phil Kessel, and the guy who has already been his head coach and was the assistant coach at Pittsburgh when they won back-to-back cup was Rick Tocchet. So I mean, Phil Kessel in Vancouver. Kessel was there when the Penguins won those back-to-back cups. He was there last year when the Vegas won the cup. So I mean, even if he's not playing a big role like he used to, he just, it's Phil Kessel. He just kind of seems like a glue guy at this point, and more so as a guy who's kind of going to be a bench player. And if he does play, he's kind of like sheltered and probably power play minutes. But it would be cool just to see him get another opportunity.
I mean,
Especially on a good team.
he's not like, I mean, if you're expecting a defensive player, like you're never going to get that with Kessel. But like, I mean, for God's sakes, he had 36 and 82 last year. Like you could do something with that. And the craziest part is, if I am correct, yeah, he had 27 5-on-5 points, which I feel like is better than I thought he had last year on a good
I
Vegas
thought he'd
team.
be a power play merchant. Yeah.
He only had 9 power play points last year, surprisingly. So this is a guy where, like, come playoff time, you just want to have just in case. You know what I mean? Like, it's not someone you play every game, which I know is something he probably wants. But
yeah,
come playoff,
I think now at the point he just wants to be on a team and a good team at that.
Fair enough. Go chase another cup. Go get that third one.
Why not?
But
fourth?
Is it fourth?
Yeah, because he had 2 in Pittsburgh, 1 in Vegas.
Oh yeah, he did one with Vegas last year. Yeah, so he would be going for Cup 4, joining the Patty Maroon Club,
Chris
right?
Kunitz Cup.
No, the Chris Kunitz Club. That's what it is. There we go. It's like, oh yeah, didn't Nick? No, it was only Chris Kunitz. No one else had more than 4 cups. I don't know who that Gretzky guy is. I don't know who the hell you're talking about, but
sounds like a bum to me.
Yeah, it sounds like a fraud. But I just like that move, just in case one of their skilled forwards gets hurt. That's a guy who can slot in and play extremely well. Well, not extremely well, but is more than serviceable in that position. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I don't really have much more to add to that, but yeah, I hope he just gets a chance.
Same.
Speaking of legends and former Pittsburgh Penguins, today Jaromir Jagr got his number 68 retired in Pittsburgh.
It was very cool. Did you see Crosby with the mullet?
Wasn't that Malkin? Was it both of them? Because I saw the one with Malkin had a mullet.
I saw one with
Crosby might have had one too.
So I guess they all did.
Hell yeah! Well, didn't they all wore? Didn't all of them wear mullets on the guys? I know they all wore 68 Jagr jerseys, but at least a few of them wore Jagr mullets.
Mm-hmm. That's how I saw Crosby with the mullet. I'm pretty sure. Like, but I mean, that's well deserved. I mean, I don't think we have to say anything else besides that. It's one of the greatest players to ever grace the game, and he's still playing at a pretty good level overseas. Like,
he could, as far as I'm concerned, he can join any NHL team, and at work, like, he could be a 4th liner guy.
Doc, his analytics were great in 2017. He had 27 goals on a fucking mid-Panther team. Like, I know that guy could still play in the NHL if he wanted to. He's just like, yeah, like, there's probably some sort of pride at some point when you're that good for that long. And it's like, I don't really want to play 5 minutes a night. I'll just go do whatever I want with the team that I own overseas. Like, I've done everything there is to do. Like, it'd be one thing if, like, he'd never won a cup, right? It's like Thornton.
Yeah.
But it's not. So... I mean,
well, that's the thing with Jagr. He's been doing side quests. Like, he got drafted in 1990. He's the same age as my dad. The story goes with Jaromir Jagr in that draft in 1990. So the Penguins, obviously, they had Lemieux. I don't know if they had Ron Francis and all those guys yet, but like, I think they just missed the playoffs that year, which is why they had a top 5 pick. But in that draft, everyone's like, "Well, how come Jagr didn't go 1st overall?" So he went 5th overall in 1990. 1st overall, Owen Nolan to the Quebec Nordiques. Solid pick. Owen Nolan was good. Peter Nedved went to the Canucks 2nd overall. Keith Primo went 3rd overall. And Mike Ricci 4th overall. Both the Red Wings and Flyers. Like not, Hall of Famer players. Like Owen Nolan is pretty good, but like those 3 picked after were decent guys. But Jaromir Jagr went 5th, and the story goes is he didn't want to play with any of those teams. Like he still wanted to play over in Europe, I think, but as soon as Pittsburgh came out, Pittsburgh comes, oh, we might draft you. It's like he was like, oh, well, I watched Mario Lemieux. I'm a big fan of him. I'll go over if I'm drafted by the Penguins. Gets
Yeah,
drafted by the Penguins. I believe the Penguins were still kind of a mid team, didn't really make it over the hump. But once Yager came to the NHL, his first season, 1990-91, 57 points, 80 games, and then Pittsburgh won back to back cups, 1991 and 1992. And that was that year the Penguins beats the Blackhawks. They swept them in that cup final. That's when I think when Hash, man, go. It is,
dude. Do not ever bring up the '90s Blackhawks around my dad. He will talk about them for 3 hours about how they should have won like 4 cups. Like it's ridiculous.
Dude, you had the best goalie of all time and probably a top 5 goalie of that era with Ed Belfour and Dominic Hasek.
Dude, and then they had like the amount of forward talent they had.
Yeah.
They had Savard for a freaking decade and just couldn't get past Gretzky. Like my dad tells me so many stories about like the Hawks. Like the Hawks teams of the past would be known a lot more if there weren't for that, that Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux fellow and that Jaromir Jagr.
Yeah, Wayne Gretzky did that to a lot of teams. Like going back to then, like the Calgary Flames, they were lucky to get a cup in 1989. The Winnipeg Jets had a very good team in the 80s, but they just kept running into the Oilers. Like people forget 1986, if like it's that goal, I think it was Steve Smith on the Oilers put it in his own net, like that prevented the Oilers potentially winning 5 Stanley Cups in a row because they won in 84 and 85 and then they won in 87 and 88, but some guy named Patrick Waugh as like a 20-year-old led the Habs to the 1986 Cup. And yeah, Flames won in 1989, Oilers won in 1990, 91, 92 was the Penguins, and then 93 was Patrick Waugh and the Habs again. So that's probably the last we've seen like the of these dynasty teams, but got a little sidetracked there. But back to Jaromir Jagr, like he did everything at an early age. Like he won back-to-back cups as a 19 and a 20-year-old, and kind of to loop it back into Gretzky and Lemieux, it was him, Lemieux, and Gretzky that won like Art Ross's up until like the early 2000s. It was crazy, dude. And then he went like he was so good. He got traded to the Capitals. Didn't work too well, I don't think, with them. Rangers, and did very well with the rate. He had 123 points in 05-06, but I was so young, I don't remember Jaromir Jagr that much because he left for the KHL. Like he was literally just doing side quests. Yeah, I'm gonna go to KHL. I've got enough points. Like I've won a Hart. I've won many Art Rosses. I've won 2 Stanley Cups. I'm just gonna go to KHL. And then he came back, played for the Flyers 1 year, played for the Stars. Remember he got traded to the Bruins. And then he played a couple years with the Devils and a couple years with the Panthers, and then I forgot he signed with Calgary, and that was finally the end of his line. Nearly 30 years since he played his first game in the NHL. Like, holy, it's crazy. Oh, and a gold medal for good measure.
I'm best part of it all, honestly. Like winning a gold medal with Czechia is insane. It's Jagr is a career that we are never going to see again. I don't think.
So unique. Yeah.
It is such a unique career. I think there might be one that I'm not thinking of, but when I think of NHL history, I think the only career that equates in terms of longevity is Gordie Howe. But Gordie Howe's in his own element. He played till his effing 50s. But like that's kind of what Jagr was to an extent.
He played a professional game in the late 90s, and he played like in the 40s, I'm pretty sure. Like that's 50 years.
Yeah, and the closest we got to Gordie Howe, I think, was Jagr, and I don't know who will be the closest we get to Jagr, to be honest, because it's just a longevity factor, man. Like you just do not see hockey players play that long. Usually something gives out by then. Usually it's a knee or a back or a hip or a wrist or something. And this dude's just built like a strong like bull, man. Just still built like a shit brick house. Like, oh man.
You want to watch a big hit? Watch Alex Ovechkin just crushing Jagr. Like those are two like trains crashing into each time Olympics, and of course the only guy who could probably knock him on his ass is Ovechkin. He's also like that.
Oh my god, just a hell of a career.
That's like That's like 1,600 goals crashing into each other right there.
That's number 2 and 3 on the list. Like eventually, like
Yeah.
that. Oh man,
So
there's so much
Yager,
drama.
733 games played, 766 goals, 1,155 assists for 1,921 points, second all time.
Oh my god, that's just not a real stat. Like he's so good. He's so
And for good
good.
measure, 201 points in 208 playoff games. That's a lot of playoff games.
But he's not a playoff performer because he's not point a game.
And that's right. He's not. He's no Matthew Highmore, but he's all right, I suppose.
Yeah, he couldn't get high more. That's a shame.
Damn. Like me for real. So let's go on to Gordie Howe that we brought him up. So, or 1928, his first NHL game was in 1946. From 1946 to 1980, he played 26 seasons in the NHL and then 6 seasons in the WHA. So that makes sense. So he played in the NHL for 5 different decades, the 40s through the 80s. And he played a game in 1997 for the Detroit Detroit Vipers of the IHL.
He's played everywhere. It's insane. Like
767 games, 801 goals, 1,049 assists for 1,850 points.
And it's one of the best to ever do it, man. There's a reason. I would argue
He's one of those players. He's one of those players from that era where, like, he's a tough Canadian boy. Like, he grew up in Saskatchewan. Like, he was a piece of shit on the ice. Like, he would murder you if he could, but then off the ice, like, just the most like gentlemanly person ever. Like, I've heard that of like many guys on the Habs, like John Belleville as well. Like, they're just nasty to play against these big guys, but once you get them on the ice, they're like teddy bears.
Oh yeah, dude. Like, it's good to hear that there were people like that in an era where it was common that these players were just freaking the worst. Like,
Yeah,
it's nice to know. I will say that for sure.
yeah, it helps reaffirm some faith in humanity and in men.
Yeah,
Played
it's a little
for
low
the
right
Red
now.
Wings pretty much his whole NHL career. Then he played for the Houston Aeros of the WHA, then the New England Whalers, and then of course the Detroit Vipers.
Hell of a hockey player, top 5 all time.
Probably right now, Mount Rushmore.
Oh, he's on Mount Rushmore, not a doubt in my mind. He
Right
did
now-
more. He did more for the sport than anyone could even imagine. Honestly,
Right now, because I think by the end of it, Crosby might be on it. Right now, I would have Gretzky, Lemieux, and Howe.
yeah, that's probably my list. Maybe, yeah. I was gonna say maybe throw a goalie in there, but nah, How's better than that.
Hasek, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I just love how I wish I was like remember watching Hasek play, but I wanted to see like him like late 90s Hasek in his prime where he's just sprawling everywhere but has like a 930 save percentage and is leading the Sabres to the cup final.
Dude, right? I wish I could have saw it. Like just to go to a game and see live Hasek, like prime Hasek. That would be amazing.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Jaromir Jagr, legend in Pittsburgh. So Chris Chelios is gonna have his number retired next week.
My parents are going to that game.
That is so awesome. Hell yeah.
I'm just glad it's gonna be a really emotional night for Blackhawk fans because not only is
Patrick Kane's returning too.
Yeah, it's Patrick Kane return night. It's Alex DeBrincat return night again.
That's right. Yeah.
Chelios jersey retirement night.
Speaking of guys who played for a while, like he was
Chelios
on the
played.
1986 Habs team that won the cup with Patrick Waugh, and
he played for the Thrashers. That's how long he was in the league. Like Jesus.
Mm-hmm. 09-10. Like,
dude, he played the year the Hawks won the cup. Like, what the hell? Like, what is going on with some of these players, bro? That's crazy. Oh my god. And like that's like always one of my favorite things I looked up. I was like, holy crap, Chelios played till he was in his 40s. And it's just like it's a rare case when it happens, and when you do, you have to appreciate it. You really just do. Like the fact that Chara even made it to his 40s.
I was gonna just bring up Chara. Yeah,
it's you have to admire it. Like I really like. Man, Joe, why did you go to Toronto to win a cup? Like, can we really have that talk? Like, can we really have that talk? You saw it didn't work for Patty, and you're like, I'm going to spend my last year.
It worked for me.
And then I'm going to go to Florida the year before they go on their deep playoff.
No.
Like, this poor guy. Like, oh my gosh. I really wanted Joe to get a cup, man. Oh, Jumbo.
Yeah.
He's such a good fucking player.
He's got a gold medal, though. So.
Oh, he's a Hall of Famer. Like, he's, what is he, top 10 all time in assists, I think? Like, he's a Hall of Famer.
His 05-06 season is probably one of the like he had 96 assists and he got traded by the Bruins, by the way.
Oh my god, Boston has traded some crazy players and it just has not affected them.
And they
whatsoever.
still won. Yeah, they're
any other team. Sorry, I just want to say any other team that trades him and Tyler Seguin gets scorned. Like they did both that in a decade.
Blake Wheeler they traded Phil Kessel too. Like you can go down the list. Like they've traded. You could probably ice an all-star lineup of the players they've traded.
And it just doesn't falter because it's like, oh yeah, we have Patrice Bergeron. Oh yeah, we have Zdeno Chara. Oh yeah, we drafted David Pastrnak 25th overall. Like,
oh, we got rid of Dougie Hamilton. That's all right. We'll just draft Charlie McAvoy. Oh no, Tuukka Rask retired. Oh, he's not
let's
as
just
good.
Get two of them.
Let's just get another good goaltending duo. Let's get Omark and Swayman. Yeah.
I mean, that's what great organizations do. Like I feel like you and I are like the biggest Boston meat riders on the planet, but it's just like, listen, when you see a well-run organization, you have to acknowledge it. All right. Even if they beat your favorite team in the playoffs every year. Sorry, Rose. Jeez Louise.
Hey, I was looking at the playoff standings. If it were to start today, we have, I think, 2 months until the playoffs. We would have a Toronto-Boston first round.
Oh my god, dread it! Death taxes, Toronto, Boston. Like it's just can't avoid it.
So yeah, in the East, Boston and Toronto. Man, Florida like has really, really been hot, and I haven't noticed like they're first in the
dude. Matthew Tkachuk has like 45 points since Christmas. It's kind of nuts.
Yeah. So yeah, as it stands right now, if the playoffs started, it would be Panthers versus Red Wings. I wish like Tampa would drop down so it could be Panthers and Lightning. Could you imagine we get a first round Panthers Lightning and Bruins and Bruins and Maple Leafs, please.
I know they don't want it, but as a fan of none of those teams, give me.
Me. Hey, well, we're on track to get another Vegas Edmonton, but in the first round, one of those teams is going to lose in the first round. I mean, I want the Oilers to win. I want there to be a Stanley Cup parade in Edmonton, but please give me 7 games of Vegas and Edmonton, please.
Dude, give me
those teams hate each other.
Isn't Avs Jets the scenario right now in the Central? Like, that would be a hell of a series. Oh man. And then you get
and in the West, another one. Dallas and LA is a low key good one.
Okay, I didn't know LA. I thought St. Louis was the team that was matching up with them. LA is the team. Oh, that gets interesting. Okay.
The only one where I'm like, meh, Vancouver, St. Louis, because I think Vancouver beats them again. Just like in 2020.
Again. Like, no Bo Horvat, no problem. It won't matter. Hey, you've ever heard of this guy named Elias Lindholm? Yeah, he's going to run your shit for 4 games. Just as a heads up. Dude, I'm here for these playoffs. Dude, I'm here for these playoff series, though. I remember at one point, if the Leafs are like in a wild card scenario, they could like match up with the Rangers, which I think would be nuts.
That'd be a good one. Original 6, Toronto, New York. Yeah.
Dude, and it would make money for both sides, which I think is the scenario the NHL has been looking for so long.
That is the best case scenario Eastern Conference final for Gary Bettman. You get Toronto and New York.
You have like it would be the best, and then you get Chicago, LA at some point, and then you just cover all the big markets.
Yeah.
Or I guess in this case it'd be Vancouver, LA, and then you just cover everything, right? Or what would be bigger, Vancouver or Edmonton?
Oh, Vancouver easily.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah. So, dude, you got Vancouver, LA, you got Toronto, New York. Bettman put his fucking, voodoo wizardry and bullshit into the fold like he did when the Hawks won the lottery this year. Still believe that's Bettman's doing. Do not care. Appreciate it.
Man, I don't know where I stand on that because I feel because there's the angle of it, like the Blackhawks probably shouldn't have been picking first over. Like Bettman
They shouldn't have
definitely
even
had
had a
a say in
pick.
that.
Like I think
Yeah,
you and I
like,
both have stated that before.
but
Like,
I kind of, but like I'm gonna say, like Bettman, he wanted the Blackhawks to have that first. That's all I'm gonna say.
oh yeah. Like
I won't go
I don't think there's like if there's ever been a draft lottery year that sums up how Bettman wants this league run, it's 2019. Because 2019, the Jets or the Devils moved up. They wanted to get them back in the mix. They moved the Rangers and the Blackhawks all the way up just because if there was ever a year the lottery was rigged, it's that one, especially because it got leaked an hour before it happened. That one was definitely rigged.
That's the one I will listen to. Yeah.
This one I won't. I will listen to it to an extent. Like I think you can watch our live reactions. I almost called him like a slimy POS because
I remember that.
I caught myself. I was like, "You did not just do this." Because like the whole year we're just like, "Oh yeah, they're gonna give us like 2 or 3. They're not that."
Which I would have been fine with.
Yeah, dude. I was so set on Fantilli all year. Like I didn't care.
I was even talking myself and Leo Cross. I'm like, okay, he could be a 1C, I think.
I was watching Carlson all year. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
If he hits everything right, he could be good. But I was also the guy that was like, I want to see how he translates to North American ice, and this guy's translated North American ice better than I could even imagine. So yeah, it's one of those rare scenarios where I think everyone in the top 3 came out very happy. It's not like one person didn't get who they wanted. No, I think hell, even 4. I like what's the name of the Mike Greer in San Jose? Like he went to BU. Like we always knew he wanted Will Smith. So sorry. I think that was just a good scenario for that draft class. I don't know how we got to the Blackhawks. Oh yeah, because it always does.
It always goes back to that. Anyone like before that 2019 draft, anyone like there's no way Gary Bettman would ever want Connor McDavid to go to Edmonton and even Austin Matthews to
especially
Toronto.
Yeah.
But that's probably best case scenario for a Canadian team to have Matthews in Toronto.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Even though like American talent in the States would have been
Austin
that probably would have skyrocketed US ratings a lot earlier, let's be honest. Like now they're doing a good job like of marketing like Pasternak and then like obviously Bedard, but like Vegas, I feel like
I think of American player on a notable like big. Well, New Jersey isn't a big like the bigger. It's not New York, the Rangers, but like Jack Hughes on the Devils. That's probably the big one there.
And that took a while for them to realize like the personality I think they had there. And I think they still don't realize the personality they have with Matthews. Like I feel like they just have not used that as much as they should. Like this is the guy that goes and hangs out with celebrities every week. Like you need to
Justin Bieber.
Oh, but it's Bieber. He doesn't fucking dude. I don't care. Like when was the last time any NHLer was hanging out with a mainstreamer? Like ever. Like the last time I could think, like back in the day, is like Mess. Like that's it. And like, you know, the stupid rumor where like Kane wanted Taylor Swift's number or whatever, but that's like some he said, she said crap.
Remember I'm pretty sure Mike Fisher and
Carrie. Well, Mike Fisher and Carrie Underwood, that's my loving wife, and that's my loving husband. That's a little different, okay?
Yeah.
Nah, Mike Fisher is a real one though. Like goat. Shout out Mike Fisher. Hell of a career too, honestly. Like he had a very underrated NHL career.
He's one of those guys where he's obviously not going to the Hall of Fame, but like he was just a solid guy for his whole career. Yeah.
Facts. Yeah, we got way off topic, but that's all right.
That's what we want a podcast. Let's get us back on a topic.
Who gives a shit?
Hell yeah. Let's get on to some Twitter questions and we can read some Reddit stories afterwards.
I got some Twitter questions as well because I doubled down.
Okay, you go first.
Bet. All right.
Twitter questions.
Finding Twitter questions. Us as we get our Del Taco. This question comes from Joey. He was just asking, what do you guys think about Ryan Leonard and Andrew Cristall for the Capitals as prospects and with both their junior seasons closing? And I'll let you go for starters because I know you were the one that got me on the Cristall train last year for sure. So I just want to know your thoughts. to start.
To be honest with I followed Crystal like a lot last year. I'm kind of I wanted the Blackhawks to pick them obviously, but the reality is your team. I mean, they already got Bedard and Moore, two guys we obviously loved. I mean, your GM isn't going to get every single play. Like, there's a couple teams in the NHL where they have those Twitter drafts where it's like they just always pick the guys that people like the draft guys. One team that comes to mind is like Carolina. They do that a lot. Same. I would even add Seattle in there. They got a lot of those guys. Like, I remember sitting even in 2022 when Seattle was at the draft. We're like, oh, that's a good pick. And like they had like 4 second round picks, and like every 10 picks were like, oh, that's a good pick. Oh, it's Seattle as well. Yeah. But back to Andrew Cristal, like on pace for 109 points in 62 games. Again, I haven't really paid too much attention. I'm like, it's crazy he wasn't on the World Junior Canadian team, but that's a whole other thing.
The World Junior Canadian team had a lot of question marks this year, to say the least.
It was. I mean,
besides
looking at where they were last year with the wealth of talent they had, there was always going to be a downgrade just by virtue of Bedard not being there. But yeah, they could have added some extra guys on. Yeah, that too. Like, man, we could go on and on. Yeah, the Capitals are in such like they need to rebuild. Like, they're probably the most weirdest team in the NHL this season because they're not bad, but like they're a defensive team. Like, they're better defensively, but they're not really scoring any goals. I know Ovechkin's turned it on, but I think with Backstrom retiring and all that, Kuznetsov, unfortunately, I think he had to go to get some assistance with the NHLPA. Like, all the signs are there for them to rebuild. And I mean, if they can rebuild like they got, like having Cristal and obviously having Ryan Leonard, I don't really know how a season is going.
Oh, Ryan Leonard. I know Ryan Leonard's season. He has been lighting it the F up at Boston College.
Well, then there you go. He's going to be on the Capitals by then.
Dude, if you ever want to have some fun, go look at some
I know
Boston
he had a
College.
Great World Juniors. Yeah.
First of all, rock star at the World Juniors. Yeah. Go ahead and read off his stats real quick.
41 points in 29 games, 21 goals. Hot damn.
Dude, it's him, Will Smith, and Gabe Perreault. That's the line at BC right now. It's disgusting. Like, oh man. Like, anytime I catch a BU game or a BC game on TV, I am BU too, because of celebrating, but Boston College specifically, like that line is just electric to watch. And we were talking about Ryan Leonard a little bit when we were going over our draft prospects. Like, that was probably
especially if the Blackhawks dropped. Like that Leonard would have been another guy that fit the bill.
Yeah, like
for Davidson.
Just like, he plays such a strong game, and that's such a game that he plays such a game that's going to translate well to the NHL level. I think, like, I'll be the first to say it. That's a guy that does not surprise me if he makes it out of camp next year, if they sign him. Like, if he isn't on the team by the end of the year. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they might sign him at the end of this year, depending on when BC ends their playoff run. But because I think they got a good shot at the Natty this year with the way they play. But like, this is a guy that could be a power forward in your top 6. And I know he's not power. He's not like a. But sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, he's not your prototypical power forward, but like, he's only 6 feet, 190 pounds. Like, he's not small either. Like, the way he plays, I feel he can be a pest and just be so annoying to play against. And I feel like I feel he could just be that complete center that can do everything at an elite level. And I think he could be like a guy who gets like 30 goals and could be a Selke guy and just be so, like, he can really do it all.
I agree. I really just think that skill set is just so translatable, and the fact that he plays center and wing, always great when you get to the NHL
he can
level.
Do everything and do it well. Like, we talk about jack of all trades, not elite and everything. Like, he's jack of all trades, elite at pretty much everything.
Yeah, it's a hell of a thing. He'll play power play, he'll play penalty kill when he gets to the NHL. Like, I'm just concerned about not concerned about, but concerned as to how they're going to go about his development curve, because they could very easily put him in the NHL next year if they wanted to. Like, I don't even think that would hurt his development to say. And like you said, I think the word you described him perfectly. Power forward wasn't the right word. Pest is the word. Like, this is a guy that is just going to annoy the crap out of the goalie in front of
the net. I can't even think of a comparison for him. Like, he just seems like he's such a unique player in that aspect.
There's one out there, and we're just not thinking of it. Like, I'm like sniffing. I'm like thinking too. I'm like, there's a player out there that I'm thinking of, and I just can't put my put my finger on
The
it.
easy one is like, especially when it's a smaller center that can do, is Braden Point. Like, he's kind of a pest as well, but yeah, if you can beat Braden Point, you are laughing
Oh yeah,
that you
dude.
got him at number 8.
And like it's that play style. Like if he could even be like a Kachuk light, that's a win. Like that's such a win. You got like a 60 point, like you said, 60 point, 30 goal scoring center. Even if that's what his ceiling is, you
That's
need
pretty
players
good,
like
yeah.
that. You need, especially at eighth
Mhm.
overall, when you like obviously we were all kind of sitting there at the draft, like, oh my god, imagine Mitch Koff drops to 8. This is gonna be insane
Yeah.
if Mitch Koff goes to
Mhm.
where Ovi is. They got a hell of a
That's
consolation
not a bad
prize.
consolation prize,
That's
yeah.
a hell of a consolation prize. And we were sitting there like, all right, so how far is Leonard going to drop? Literally next pick.
Right after,
We're
yeah.
just going to go ahead and snag that. So yeah, the Caps are in real good shape. I would have to say.
Yeah, having those, like, they had a pretty good draft last year. And I mean, Crystal, I don't think he's gonna be that good, but like that's a complimentary, winger. Hell, it could even be Leonard's winger, and that's a guy who's gonna be on your number 1 power play. As far as I'm concerned, I wish I watched more of them this year. I didn't even know Leonard was that good, but I was
Dude.
pretty high on him leading the draft. So yeah, I think all of those are realistic for him. What was the next question you had? If you
So
have
this
one,
question was just from my brother, and I think this is for last pod. I just missed it. He was just asking
yeah.
like, what's your most anticipated project for 2024? So that's like movie or show. Because I'm just
Ooh.
curious too, kind of honestly.
I've been kind of out of the loop with movies and shows, but I think you probably know The Boys.
Dude, The Boys season 4. I am so excited. We are gonna review that show or on this show. I
Hmm.
I can't wait. Like that.
I could give you another answer, but I don't know if it's happening this year. I don't even know if it happened next year. I'm waiting, and it's not even a movie or a show. It's music. I'm waiting for that Fourth Lord album to drop. I'll tell you that too.
Oh, here we go. Now we're talking. Now we're
Yeah.
talking. Here we go, baby. Oh, dude, I'm here.
Yeah, if anything music, like I'm more excited. Like Dua Lipa's got an album coming out
Dude,
soon, I
Schoolboy's
believe.
dropping next month. I can't wait. Oh my god. Yeah, I've been waiting for so long. He's finally dropping an album. I can't wait. Of
And GTA 6, but that's next year.
course.
That's 12 years in the making.
Fags.
Dude, I just turned 13 or was right before 13 when GTA 5 came out. That's
Dude,
crazy.
I
And
remember getting GTA 5 for my Xbox 360.
yeah, that mine would have been 360 as well.
And then I remember getting it for my OG Xbox One. And I remember downloading it on my Xbox Series S. It's been a journey with that game, to say the least.
I remember on the 360, I'm pretty sure you had to have 2 separate discs to
Yep.
download it.
You did. I remember that. Oh my gosh. You just unlocked a memory in
I
my
just
brain.
unlocked a core memory you forgot
Holy
you had.
smokes,
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, ever since thinking about that Reddit story we read with the Animal Crossing, I've been thinking like about video games and all the stuff like I did when I was younger. I'm like GTA is another one. Like if I had any of my progress delete, like I've had that character since 2013. I think I'm at level 300 and something. Like if that all got deleted, I would be devastated. I don't even know what I would do. Yeah.
Heartbroken. And it's like it's crazy to even like for someone who doesn't play video games, it's crazy to even describe that to someone, but it's like it's true. It's so true.
Mm-hmm.
It's I I argue it's to the level of how some people read books to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
Like how those
That's what I'm
stories
trying to
stick
do.
with
I want to
you.
read some books this year. That's on my list.
I've been a big audiobook guy lately. That's been my big
Yeah.
thing too. Because
A lot of people
I
do
can't I
that.
really hate sitting
Mhm.
down and just picking up the book and reading. So if I'm in my
I do want to
car,
do that. I want to try that first because I have read a few books for pleasure especially once COVID started. Like I remember I read Lolita. That was fun, I think it was written in the 40s or the 50s, and it's basically this guy who gets with a wife and he gets with a girl so he can get to a 12-year-old daughter. It's fucked up, but I mean, that's what I think of when art it needs to be provocative or even offensive in some cases. Like it was written in 40s by a Russian author and then it got adapted into a Kubrick movie in the early 60s, and I think there's been other versions of it done. But yeah, I do want to read a book, and if I can't read a physical book, then listen to it on audio.
of course. Yeah.
Trying to
Like
consume more media here. Well, we were. I remember after last podcast, we were talking about like us how we took a film class in like in school, and I'm just like, damn, all these, because like when I took film class in school, like again, that would have been probably 2013, 14. I was watching so many movies up until probably COVID hit. So it's, and like talking with Rose, talking with you, and just all these movies I remember watching. I'm like, oh, I remember that. That was a gem. We gotta talk more about movies on the podcast. Yeah.
Oh, dude,
Damn, that was a good question by your brother.
yeah, I didn't even get to answer my part yet, dude. We're
Yeah,
so
you go, man. Enough about me
dude,
rambling.
it's the best part. Like every year, I get excited about. Like I always look right, like January 2024. All right, let's see what the year has in store for stuff I'm going to look forward to. And obviously, I've preached it till the cows come home on this show. I am the biggest Invincible fan you're going to find. Second half of season 2, 3 weeks away. They just dropped the trailer. I'm geeked. I'm ready to go. It's going to be so much fun. Like I love that show so much, and I love after reading the comics again, because I got so hyped after watching the first half of season 2, I just read the comics again all the way through. And I'm just so excited for what's to come. Like there's so much to come. Like I showed it to my friend. I'm like, we're not even halfway through the first compendium, and there's 3 of those. Like we have so much stuff to get into. Like the story is just only gonna get crazier. And I keep telling my friends, they're like, what about this multiverse guy? What's the deal with that? I'm like, just think of him as like the cockroach that never goes away. And that's how they treat the multiverse in this. And I kind of effing love that to an extent, because it's such a different approach to every other superhero thing with the multiverse. It's like, oh, let's just get all the heroes in here at once. It'll be so fucking cool. Like, no, like this is actually like the multiverse is going to keep haunting you for the rest of your life because you fucked with it. So that's how this works. It crazy. So that's like show wise. And then obviously The Boys season 4. Pumped, like cannot wait. I'm really hoping that comes out when we're in Vegas so we can watch an episode together. Like I really
Oh
do.
man, I remember season 3 came out. It was either right the day as we were in Montreal or like a couple days before.
I will tell you what it was. It was the season 3 finale, and I told you because it was right after DeBrincat got traded, and we were all like down in the dumps. And I looked at you, and I was just like, I don't care what happens tonight. We are watching this finale. I'm going to show you stuff to try to catch you up so you're not completely confused. But we are watching this because I need something good to come out of today. And they ended up having such a good draft, and it was such good vibes. And I
looking back on that was such a good day. Like I'm glad we went through all that pain.
Oh, it was a roller coaster, dude. It was a roller coaster. But then and then like I'm just so glad you liked the show, because like that show is just it really does walk the line of just pure comedy and just the craziest plot lines you've ever seen. Like, and I love, and that's the kind of shit I love with media, honestly. Like that's like I keep seeing and I don't mean to keep talking about the shit I'm hyped for in 2024, but like movie wise, there's 2 movies on my list this year. Dune 2 is getting Twin Towers, or not Twin Towers. Holy smokes, that was bad. It's getting 2. It's getting 2 towers comparisons from Lord of the Rings.
Yes, I knew what you meant, but
everyone knows what I meant, okay? And I caught myself. All right, jeez. But the fact that Dune 2 is getting that high of praise is exciting me, because this is
a nice popcorn bucket too.
Dude, have you seen? I told Rose I saw a meme where it wasn't even a meme. It was an effing TikTok comment, right? TikTok comment about a video of some guy having the Madam Web bucket, and he's like, "I'm taking the Madam Web bucket to or he's like, "I'm taking the Dune bucket to Madam Web," and I was just like, "You guys are, I'm done. I'm done. It's too much. It's too much." Too much.
When as soon as I first saw it, I was thinking of the Sarlacc pit from Star Wars. That's what it is.
He's got my leg.
Yeah.
My finger going in to get popcorn.
There's a deep cup for you nerds. Even though I'm pretty sure that's
god. But yeah, Dune 2 looks incredible. And then also Francis Ford Coppola's Megapolis.
Fuck yeah.
I'm ready. I've been ready, dude. Like all I got was all we got was like the first look picture, and I'm hooked. Just sign me up. That's like my type of shit all the way through. I'm here for it. And it's going to be crazy because I don't think 2024 is going to be as big of a year for movies as last year. Could be. I don't know yet. But
Oh, I
like
mean, Barbenheimer on its own was, yeah.
that, and the fact that I can name like 10 movies off the top of my head that were at least 9 out of 10 or better, in my opinion. Obviously, like everyone's opinion is different. That's the great thing about movies, are subjective. Like you can think whatever you want. But holy smokes, man. Like there were so many good movies last year. Like like Barbenheimer, you got there's 2. You got, I'll name the Cape shit that I liked. I love Spider-Verse last year. I love Guardians 3. You got the Iron Claw, you got Asteroid City, you got Killers of the Flower Moon, you got
I gotta watch that still. I'm so mad I haven't
so good,
watched it.
dude.
Yeah.
So good. It's long, but it's very good.
I can watch along. I've watched movies that are 4 hours. I've watched Gone with
Yeah,
the
this
Wind.
one's
I've
about
watched
4
Lawrence of
hours. Yeah,
Arabia. Yeah.
like Scorsese is in his Duffy in this one. It's crazy. Poor Things was incredible. There's
Oh
a
my god, I
couple.
love Lord.
Bottoms was fucking hilarious. No Hard Feelings was really funny. Like
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons is surprisingly was really good last year. Like I don't know, man. There were so many good movies last year that I just think that 2024's got a lot to live up to on the bill, especially with what's coming in 2025. So that's kind of where I'm hyped with for 2024. So those are the questions I got. I mean, we went a little bit tirade there, but
I feel like, and like, I like Marvel. Like you guys love Marvel, and that's not to like shit off, but like I feel we often get caught up, like, oh, Marvel is just like overdoing it, and I agree with that. But also, like, what happened to these good old fashioned movies? Like, there's so many good movies that come out each year, it just doesn't get the attention. But I feel if we were living like 30, 40, 50 years ago, there are probably some legendary films that came out in the moment but didn't get good reviews or good press, but stand the test of time. And I think that's what we're going to see with a lot of these movies.
100%, dude. You make a great point with that. And I really think it gets shown a lot. Just like I think one of the best ways we could show that I think cinema's healing, as stupid as that sounds, like Anyone But You, which is that new rom-com with Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney, that made over $100 million at the box office. Like sitcoms or like rom-coms weren't doing that for like 5 years. They're doing that again now. Like it's clear the audience wants new, or the general audience wants new stuff. Like I think the Iron Claw made the most for any A24 movie ever. Like
yeah, there's definitely fatigue, Marvel fatigue, absolutely.
well, it doesn't help. Like,
Yeah.
and I wanted to make a point about that too, because like
Mhm.
I said, I think I've talked about this many times on the show. Like my family and I have grown a closer bond with those movies, like showing them those
Yeah.
movies. My sister, my brother, my parents. Like, yeah, they may not all be great, but when they're good, they're really good, in my opinion. And
Yeah,
I
when
think,
they hit. Yeah,
dude,
absolutely.
last year, Guardians 3 and Spider-Verse were probably some of the best the product has to offer, genuinely. And then you can even go the year before, like the Batman was effing incredible. Like
Still don't watch that.
like,
I'm so behind, dude.
when next time we hang out, I'm showing you the Batman.
Oh,
I'm
I have a list of probably 10 movies I want to show you guys.
We
when
got to
we're in
watch Breakfast
Vegas.
at Tiffany's because Rose won't watch that one unless you're there. And I keep trying
Yeah.
to tell her to watch it because she was on a Hepburn kick. And I'm just like, that's the best Audrey Hepburn movie. But that's just my opinion.
Just ignore the racist Chinese.
You know, like
thing,
that's the 60s, all right? Like, geez, like my parents are like, let's watch Blazing Saddles. And they just say the hard R all the time.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, that's 19.
So any Quentin Tarantino movie.
Literally, bro. Like I showed Rose a Walking Dead thing today, and she's like, Jeffrey Dean Morgan could have played a really good racist. And I was just like, Jesus Christ. Because we were talking about like what directors would be good with him. And she's like, he'd be a hell of a racist in a Tarantino movie. I'm like, oh God.
He could have played Leonardo DiCaprio's character in Django Unchained.
No, but I made the point. She was like, oh, he'd be great in a Tarantino movie. I was like, oh yeah, Django or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And she's like, oh yeah, he'd probably be a great racist. And I was just like, okay, that's not the point I was trying to make, but oh man.
Oh yeah, I remember Breakfast at Tiffany's was one of the first movies we watched at film studies. I remember my film study teacher, she was like, yeah, this is a great movie, but there's kind of a racist part in there. And I'm like, and then I saw, I'm like, oh, there it is. That movie was also made 60 years ago. So
that's the point that needs to get stated more. Like,
not to use it as an excuse, but to show you that shit has changed.
Sign of the times. It's a sign of the times. That's all it is. And no one's defending what people were doing in the 60s. It's more of you can appreciate art while understanding that times were different. And I feel like we have this conversation a lot with sports, to be honest. Like this guy's a piece of shit, but you can acknowledge that, or you can
God damn, he could shoot a puck.
Yeah, hell of a hockey player, he's a hell of a football player. Just have his. That's life, man. Like, how many times you watch the movie and the actor's piece of shit? Still a hell of an actor. Still like the movie.
I think one of my favorite movies is Chinatown, which has Jack Nicholson, Faye Dunaway. One of the best like mystery, maybe the best mystery movie of all time and best original script written all time. Guess who the director is? It's Roman Polanski, and we don't really need to go further on on a why. That's another movie I want to show you and Rose.
I'll watch that one with you any day of the week, man. I'm just so mad. Like, for our listeners, nothing makes me feel like more of an asshole than being dead tired when Pierce wanted to show us 2001 Space Odyssey. I felt like such an asshole, dude. I felt like such an asshole. I fell asleep halfway through the movie, and it wasn't the movie. It was I had 3 hours of sleep the night before.
Yeah, we were. Yeah,
and then the fucking alarm goes off halfway through the movie, and it scared the shit out of me when they're on the planet. When they're on the moon. I was like,
that's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing with the movie is there's a lot of there's not a lot of noise. Like, there's a lot of music, there's minimal dialogue, and then there would just be quiet, and then there would just be random noises that happens. Like, I mean,
2001's all-timer. It's all.
It's like there's so many words to describe it, but I can't like.
Sensational.
We could spend we legitimately could do a 3-hour podcast on just me talking on what I think about that movie, because I saw that movie, I think it's 10 years ago now, like, and I just, even as a 13 or 14-year-old, I was just so, like, it changed my life. I was so intrigued by it. Like, I've never seen anything like it before. I'm like, I didn't know not only film but like a piece of art could be done this way. It's so unique. I think it stands completely alone. And yeah, you look at the title, it says 2001: A Space Odyssey, but like I'd say it's still ahead of its time in terms of its visuals and its themes. I mean, just even talking about it, I'm getting timeless chills. Like,
it's timeless.
Yeah, it's a master. It's a master, like, at his peak with Stanley Kubrick. The music, the visuals, the cinematography, like. It's hard to get into. Like, I'll say that. Like, it's like, first viewing is a little rough. Like, I remember just being more caught off by the special effects and the music. But you definitely have to watch it a few times to truly fully appreciate it. And it's just so deep. It's almost like a myth that you can always come back to it, and as you grow older you can get new perspectives on what the movie really needs to you, whether it's religious or anything else, but still be intrigued by it and be intrigued by like it's oh man, I just talking about, like, we could go for I could go for another 3 hours of this, and I'm getting chills thinking about. So we'll move on from that. So yeah, we still have 5 Twitter questions to go through, and we're gonna go some Reddit story. We're probably gonna go over 2.5 hours, but you know what? I don't care. Got nothing.
Would you rather listen to us or watch Endgame? I think you'd rather listen to us.
Yeah. Well, I think 2001 is Space. I'm pretty sure 2001 is like 2.5 hours long. So would you rather watch that, a cinematic masterpiece, or watch us? I think I know the answer.
I also just love how, like, we each are encapsulated, or that's not even the word I'm looking for. Just like enamored by a different space movie. Because, like, for me, it's Interstellar. Like, Interstellar, it did to me what 2001 did to you. Like, I remember watching that the first time and just my jaw dropped for a good hour in that movie. And
I remember watching the first time, like, I had to sit there for a while, and I was just like instant. Like, I had no idea what, like, my life was changed when I saw it.
My favorite is just like you see Rose and I's reactions, and it's just like I'm just like, I don't even know what to say. I'm so speechless. That was the best movie I've ever seen. And then Rose just made some dumb fucking joke about fucking about Matthew McConaughey, and I was just like, this is why we're friends, though. This is why we're friends, because we can have this dynamic of like, one movie, one of us will just like emotionally gravitate towards the other one's just like, yeah, that's funny.
Kind of mid.
But like we do, like that's our friend group. Like that's what we do. It's just like, I love this movie. And it's just like, I love this movie too, but also like I'm going to make jokes about it, and they're gonna be funny jokes, and we're all gonna laugh.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah, that's like the bar for filmmaking for me is Stanley Kubrick 2001, and my second favorite movie is definitely Barry Lyndon. We're watching that, like, just
dude, Barry Lyndon is a painting as a movie. Dead ass.
It's the most beautifully shot film ever made, and probably ever will be. Like, there's no competition for it.
Not even close. Me. It's a fucking painting. It's a moving painting.
Like you listen or read up on what he had. Like Kubrick got lenses from NASA to shoot those movies, and they used candle lights throughout like a lot of the scenes. Like it's crazy.
This is why I love talking movies with you, because like you and I have very different tastes in movies, but we can both just appreciate the art itself. You know what I mean? And like, I feel like our favorite directors say that the best. Like yours is obviously Kubrick, but mine's David Fincher. And it's like
Fincher is good. Yeah, solid.
I love Kubrick too. It's just like, everyone's got their preferences, but it's like, you could see why we each love who we love. And that's the beauty of movies, man. Like I could talk about movies all day. It's a wonderful thing. Like off-season pods, we're making movie pods. I'm so serious.
Absolutely. And I hope Rose is back by then so she can jump on too. Because she's
I need
probably
Rose to
watching
have
more
a
movies.
whole pod about Poor Things. Like I need her to just go in on it. That and Babylon. I want her to just open mic night, Rose. Let's go. Because she will let us know. And I love listening to her just talk about how much she loves stuff. It's my favorite.
Yeah, I remember talking to you. I remember texting her like last week of like, I just want to watch some film noir. Like, what are some movies you recommend? And I'm like, what were some movies I watched? And I'm just thinking back 40s and 50s. I list off like a bunch of Orson Welles movies, and I'm just like, here, watch all this film noir. And like, I'm like, damn, I have more knowledge than I think I do. So
I'm trying to get her on that Alfred Hitchcock, like,
yeah, I mean. Hitchcock, like he's not my favorite, but they're like Hitchcock when he hits. Like Rear Window is probably my favorite Hitchcock movie.
I think mine's Psycho. I really like Psycho.
Psycho is good too. Yeah, Psycho is probably his most well known and probably iconic. Like I mean, the shower scene might be the most famous scene in film, infamous for that matter, scene in movie history.
It
with like the screeching violins and the screaming, like,
dun, dun, dun. Like that's like I told you, I took a few film music class in college, and that's why we studied that movie. It was to study those stingers that they use in that movie, and it's so iconic, and it was used for 70 plus years after that. Like that's how iconic that movie is.
Yeah.
Also, just the way they build up tension in that movie is insane.
Yeah,
like, I'm a sucker for that. Like,
yeah, well, like not to spoil the film, because you think it's gonna go one way and then it just completely is flipped on its head and it goes in another direction.
It's my favorite. Like another movie I watched recently. Have you seen Prisoners?
No, I haven't.
Oh man, dude, that's a good one. Denny in his bag in that one. Great movie, but the last 30 minutes, jaw on the floor, just could not even believe what I was watching. It was so good. And that's the shit I look for in a movie. Obviously, I'm pretty easygoing when it comes to movies. If I like it, I'm gonna say I like it. But there's like that one level. There's like that level of movies that just they leave me speechless. They just leave me speechless, and these are some of them.
Yeah, I like movies where it's like, holy fuck, you did not just go there. Like, well, Psycho, I think it came out in 19... Like, most movies are pretty vanilla, pretty tame, but once the 60s hits, like, I feel Psycho was kind of the first, like, benchmark or whatever you call it for violence in movies. And even then, like, it's looking back at it, like, it's still pretty tame. Like, yeah, you have the blood spilling which was chocolate syrup, by the way, if you didn't know that.
It's black
But
and white.
then
How are you
once
supposed
you
to know?
yeah, once you get into like the late 60s, there's more like violent films with like Bonnie and Clyde, and there's more like sexually suggestive stuff. Like obviously Kubrick released Clockwork Orange, I think early 70s.
Great
There's
movie.
a bunch of other there too. Yeah. Clockwork Orange is it's I wouldn't say it's at the top. Like I feel it's tough to watch because there is a lot of violence and
Well,
rape
yeah,
and all that
it's
stuff.
not an
But
easy watch, but like
no,
that should tell you how good Kubrick is as a director when that's not even one of his best movies, and it's still just incredible. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, like, yeah, he's got his top. Like, you could pick any movie. I'd say not like Morris It's his top five. But like, you could pick like one of the best movie of all time, and you can make it your favorite. Like, what I'm trying to say is like his top five. You could pick any. Like his fifth best movie would be most directors for like best movie. Is what I'm trying to say.
Of course.
And
All right,
like, there's more like. Yeah, we should probably move on.
Sorry, I was like, we just went on like a 20-minute movie tangent.
Yeah.
I love it though. I love it.
No, I
Didn't mean to cut you
love
off.
discussing movie. I really need to get back on my film grind because I know a lot. It's just like it's not hasn't been really priority for me. So let's get through these questions and then we'll read Reddit stories and we'll finish this off. So sir, good pal MP. Which teams, if any, do you think will finish above Chicago in the standings at the end of the season? If no, TDL activity in theory happened. Well, that's the thing. I think the Blackhawks, like if the like no team sold off, I think the Blackhawks would finish last. But that's why I think like the Sharks are going to sell some pieces off of the deadline. Like they're still going to get worse. So I think what if they do that, the Blackhawks might leapfrog them, but that's about it. So I mean, fuck it. I think the Blackhawks finish last anyways. Like they got a pretty sizable lead. Like there's a sizable gap. I guess I wouldn't call that a lead unless for the lottery. But yeah, San Jose has a game in hand on him, and the Blackhawks have 2 less points. So yeah, fuck it, let's go Blackhawks. 300%. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they're gonna finish in last.
I would have disagreed because I mean, who knows? Maybe they get a Bedard bump, but even then, like they're so far behind. I don't see that. I think they finish last.
Yeah, there's just too much ground to make up, and I don't think.
And they need to. They need another high end talent.
Oh, 100%. Like them finishing in last is not a bad thing whatsoever.
No.
As long as Bedard keeps up what he's doing, I really do not care what they do for the rest of the year.
Ben
next year is when we start caring about wins and losses, in my opinion.
Yeah, Ben asked us thoughts on Reichel being sent down at Rockford. We already touched on that. Tanner,
I hope he figures it out. That's all I want to say.
Yeah,
that's all I want to say about Reichel. Just hope he figures
gets
it out.
Gets his mojo back.
Because I really want to see him on this team. Sorry.
Yeah, and be a contributing piece, absolutely.
Yes,
from
sir.
Tanner, how finished are the Penguins? Top trade target off the Blackhawks. Do you want PLD? Third one I can answer, no thanks.
Yes.
I don't want Pierre-Luc Dubois. Do you want Pierre-Luc Dubois?
I do. I'm so serious. I'm not even bullshitting. You want me to give my pitch? All right, let's go. All right. I personally just think this is like one of those situations where I just think this is a one-off year. I really think this is a one-off year. Like we've seen this situation with Dubois before. Like, oh, he only had hold on. I before I get on my tangent, let me go and look at Pierre-Luc Dubois' stats for.
He has 24 points in 53 games this season.
That I knew, but I want to know his year by year because I want to make sure that I'm not.
2022, 23, 63 points, 21, 22. Okay, I should preface this. Yes, I would like a Pierre-Luc Dubois. How I want him to come here. If he requests a trade and the Blackhawks trade from, no. But if the Kings just say we're going to move on from, we're going to retain salary, and you can get him for like a 7th or whatever. Yes, absolutely.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I would take Pierre-Luc Dubois if they're going to dump him. Like, I'll pay him 8.5 if you aren't. Jeez.
Yeah.
We're paying Dickinson 4. You're telling me I could get a Pierre-Luc Dubois for 2 Dickinsons? Let's ride. Like, But,
Dick squared. Let's go, baby.
Like, that's my whole thing. Like, if he was, it's the Seth Jones thing. Like, if he's not making $8 million, no one gives a shit. But he is. So they do. Yeah. And I just think, like, I'd take him. I'd still take him, man. Like, that's a guy who probably puts up 60 with Bedard, and they glue him to Bedard. Not trying to, like, be devil's advocate, but, like, I'd still take him.
Yeah, it's the circumstances. Like, if he requests a trade, like, I'm done with the Kings. No, I don't really want him because that's 3 times that's happened now. But if LA's like, yeah, we got a new management in, we failed to make the playoffs, we're looking to switch things up. Let's trade Dubois, retain maybe 2 million or whatever of his salary, and you only got to pay like a seventh. Absolutely, I'm on board for that.
Facts. I
Top
yeah,
trade target off of the. Bleh, too much talking. Top trade target off the Blackhawks. So I'm assuming like on the Blackhawks.
I have two. If they're not big, but
No, there's this team's not going to be selling off like they did last year or even the year
exactly.
before.
I think Tyler Johnson, just due to the lack of center on the market.
Blackwell too. Yeah.
Blackwell, yeah. I wasn't even going to mention Blackwell because I just think they want to keep him. But
Yeah, I would
if
like that
someone
too.
gives you like a third or a second, you probably got to take it. So,
Oh,
but
if they get a third, you take it. Absolutely. Yeah.
here's my hot take, and I'm not even saying he gets a lot.
I think I might know
I
where you're
really
going.
think Jared Tenorti's getting moved at the deadline, dude. I do.
Okay, that's not where
Who do you
that
think I
does
was going
make
to say?
sense. I was gonna say wild card Connor Murphy. I wonder if something happens there.
If he can get healthy, yes, I agree with that. If
Mhm.
he can get healthy, but I don't think he is he still on IR? I don't even think he's playing right now. So
No, I don't think he is. No.
but like I look at Jared Tenorti right now. I feel like any contending team would take him as a seventh D man. And it's
Mhm.
one of those like Jack
He's
Johnson.
probably the perfect seventh D man.
Exactly. And I'm thinking like you're telling me I don't want to be this guy to name every team all the time, but like Toronto could use him just for the size. Like you're telling me Florida wouldn't want another big body defenseman on the back end?
Tenori would be perfect for the Panthers. There's your good ass replacement.
Exactly, dude. Like I
No, you're
think
so
Tenorti's
right.
gonna have a market at the deadline, even if we don't think he will.
Stamiskevich for Tenorti, 1-for-1. Let's do it, baby.
Imagine, bro.
Call me John Lennon the way I will imagine.
That was a good one.
Yeah, thank you. Don't forget to tip your waitresses. I'll be here all night, literally. Gee, that traffic on the way here. Oh man. No.
How about that airline food, eh?
Just every cliche. Oh man, that's one thing I have been watching. I've been watching not to go to another tangent, but I watched a Richard Pryor stand up from like I think 1979. I'm like, damn, like it's so good. Nothing sounds outdated. I mean, anything you can watch of George Carlin, watch it. There's a reason why those two are the best comedians of all
I was
time.
literally
And
just gonna say George Carlin. Like that's like one of my favorites. Like nothing describes the duality of like a entertainer more than George Carlin doing what he did as a comedian and then being the iconic voice for Thomas the Tank Engine. Like I feel like that is just like the ultimate duality of man, and it's the beauty of entertainment, man. That really is. It really is. And
he was that van in the original Cars too. Fillmore, I think.
Hey man.
Yeah.
Talking about Fillmore?
Yeah, yes.
Hey man, come on, Sarge.
Yeah.
I don't even know what lines he said.
Would you turn that junk off? Respect the classics, man.
That's what it is. Respect the classics, man. I swear the third light blinks slower every time.
Yeah, I love how he's just a conspiracy theorist stoner on that. Love that.
Oh, I love it.
But yeah, it's funny listening to these George Carlin stand-up bits because like he's done stuff in the 90s, the 80s, and 70s, and everyone's like, oh, can't believe George Carlin predicted how our world will become today. And I'm like, no, our world's just always been fucked up. And he was the one who could actually see it and make, light of it. So anyways, how finished are the Penguins?
Okay. With Jake Gensel being out for the year potentially, yeah, they're correct.
Well, I thought he was up until the deadline, but he might not play another game as a Penguin. So
okay, to be fair, I just heard that when I listened to the Hawks on the radio when they played the Penguins on Thursday. Don't quote me on that, but they were like, oh, it could be potentially season ending, and I'm just thinking in my head like, oh man, if Gensel's out for the year, like why are you even pushing for the playoffs?
Unless I remembered wrong, but I'm pretty sure they were like, oh, he was only going to be injured up maybe a week after the deadline. I don't know.
I hope so. Like I didn't really like. I don't follow the Penguins. I don't give a shit. Like, but I just I look at this team right now, and Sidney Crosby is just fighting out of his effing mind to drag this team to any form of relevance, and no one's helping him. It's hard to watch, man. It really is. Like Sidney Crosby was playing like a man possessed on Thursday, and no one else was helping him. It felt like Raquel had a tap in. Ooh. Like, yeah, guess who set up that tap in? 87. Like, it's also just another thing of like.
Speaking of going at the conversation we have, where that's guy can play in his 40s. Yeah, this Penguins team is kind of the 2018-19 Blackhawks, where you're getting a crazy season out of your franchise star. You just don't have the support around them, and it's probably time to start rebuilding. And I think that's what they're going to do, to be honest, especially with Kyle Dubas. So yeah, I think they're missing the playoffs again.
Yeah, it's unfortunate too, because like they made the big move for Carlson, and it looked like it was working at the start of the year. It just sucks, dude, because Crosby is legit on pace for 50 goals and like 110 points. They're not going to do shit with that. That hurts. It's like what you're right. It is not. You know what? You're 100% right. It is 18-19 Hawks, because that's how we felt when Taves and Kane were playing out of their effing minds, and they couldn't do anything to help them.
Yeah,
and to break it for that matter, and Strome for that
matter. Yeah, those four guys. Yeah. You could say that with like Gensel and Malkin. So
yeah, dude, you're 100% right. Like
the fact Chris Letang is still playing is a miracle. Like,
and like
Tristan Jarry's playing good. He might be Canada's starter.
It's like Jarry's not even the problem. Like, come on. Oh,
finally, you got good goaltending, and now you missed this year. Yeah,
I'll be the first to say I was wrong about Ryan Graves. Like, I really thought that was gonna not be as bad of a deal as it looks right now. Like, it's not looking good in Penguin land, and that's a prospect pool that has been cratered. Like, it's Brandon Yeager.
Oh, they got nothing besides Pickering, I think.
No, they have Brandon Yeager.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
that's why I was like, it's Yeager and their band of merry men.
Oh, I was not listening.
You're good. Yeah, sorry, Tanner. Long 3-parter.
Yeah, from Boomer. Who does Chicago trade away at the deadline? It's kind of the same question as before. Yeah, I would say some kind of combination, like 2 or 3 of like Johnson, Blackwell, and Tenorti, and again wild card being Murphy. Other than that, I can't really think of anyone. If some team gets crazy and wants to trade for Taylor Radish, I guess, and like give us anything from fine.
Give us a 4th. I'll take it.
Bro, I take a 7th.
You know what? Actually, I'll throw one more name into the loop. Because he's actually played pretty well as a bottom 6 guy. I think Boris Kachuk might get a look from someone. Just because of his age, too. Like,
yeah, that's right. Who gets the Foligno contract this summer in Chicago? I would think Toffoli maybe. If he gets to free agency, that's a guy I would like them to target, and same with Victor Arvidsson. Those are like my 2 guys, because I don't think Sam Reinhart is resigning in Florida, but
they're not giving Samson Reinhart $10 million.
No.
I'm sorry.
Nuh-uh.
And I love Reinhart too. That's just...
dude, he might hit 60 plus goals this year.
They can't pay that. You can't overpay that. Correction.
Any other, like, he picked the best year to have a contract year. Good golly. Like,
dude, I love
any other year he might win the Rocket Richard, but Matthews just happens to be on pace for 75 plus. That's so goofy.
He's incredible, dude. And I don't think people are respecting enough what Matthews is doing.
Like, he's on a better pace than what Ovechkin was.
It's the highest goal pace since Solani. Like, people need to put that into perspective.
Dude, like, if he keeps this up, like, if he gets a hat trick like every other game, like, we're not even talking 77. Like, we might be talking close to 80
goal
per game. Yeah.
Dude, he was 2 goals off 50 and 50. Like, he's gonna do it. If he can stay healthy, he's gonna do it, I think.
Yeah, he will.
Oh, man.
And then Boomer says, "Why did the Rangers hurt me?" But he obviously sent this before they came back.
Yeah, he sent the other one. He's like, "Can I make fun of the Islanders now?" And I just smiled.
And LOL, yes, fuck you, Lou Lamoriello, old ass bum, making your players wear suits the game.
Dude, shout out to the Devils for showing up in the fucking tracksuits.
Tony Soprano outfit. Hell yeah. Even like awesome. Then the Flyers dressed up as Rocky, and like even the Rangers came in, I think, with the fire department. Like, of course, the Islanders did that.
Yeah, because they're lame.
Yeah, they are. I think that's it for the Twitter questions. We can get to our final segment and read Reddit stories. Damn, we are almost at 2.5 hours.
What would you rather do? Watch The Departed or listen to the PJS cast? That's the question you must ask. Or no, Space Odyssey or listen to, or do both. Ooh, now we're talking.
Why, yeah,
if you have that
have
crazy of ADHD, do it.
Yeah, if you want to see, I'm trying to think of a particular scene from the movie, but I'm drawing a blank right now. I haven't watched it in a while. All right. Oh man, there's still I still haven't. Like every time I read a story, I unsave it just as so like I don't read it again by accident. I'm really trying not to find a one where it's like yeah, hamana. Table for hamana. I can seat you immediately.
We could do one positive one to end the show.
Yeah, I'm trying to,
or just a funny one. Because I know a lot of these are just like, let's just trauma dump on the app real quick.
Yeah,
it's like therapy or talk to strangers on Reddit. I'll go to Reddit. Thank you very much. Maybe the person I talked to on Reddit might be a therapist.
Okay. I got a few here. I don't think they're that bad, but we're going to find out. Okay. Am I the asshole for telling a housemate I can hear them having sex? Shared building with myself in the downstairs in-law and 3 women in the main portion of the house. Around 9 p.m. the other night, I hear the ear of the mattress, and it's pretty obvious someone upstairs is doing the old, pardon the vague euphemism, penis and vagina intercourse. I occupy myself somewhere where I can't hear it, and when the sounds have been absent for a while, I text not to be crass or make anyone self-conscious, but before the next sexy time, that mattress needs some serious de-squeaking. I've left some WD-40 at the bottom of the basement stairs. Happy face. To all 3 girls above, as I'm not sure who's doing what, not like it matters. And I did leave an old bottle of WD-40 out with the mail on the basement steps, not in a cheeky way, but as a genuine solution to the problem. Total acquaintance relationship with all 3. They do their thing and I do mine, and paths rarely cross. We share some communal things like laundry, mail distribution, and trash recycling, but separate interests, and we don't interact socially. The next day, I received this as a response. That was incredibly crass and intrusive the other night. Please put on headphones next time. What am I missing, or didn't do to make me an asshole, or is said response C being an a-hole? Genuine question, not morally high grounding. We're trying to call someone. Thanks in any advance for my opinions. Well, let's read some comments. First one is not the asshole. That is fucking hilarious. Puns intended. I'll just say this. I thought he handled that well. Like, there could have been people that like, you need to stop fucking. Like, he was like, yeah, I get you need to do that. Like, here's a solution to help with that. Yeah.
I just think that's really funny. It's just like, I left WD-40 at the bottom of the stand.
Yeah.
I just think that's hilarious. I'm sorry. Because, like, I've been through that situation before.
Let's go into detail about that. No.
No. I just think it was a funny story because it was like the first day I moved into this house with my buddies, and I like got there. I told him, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get there at like 2 so I can bring some stuff over from my old apartment. I get there at like 2, and he's just going to town with his girlfriend upstairs. They're loud, and I'm just like,
I think it's the gift from Community where he walks in with like the pizza box and then everything is just on fire. He's like, okay, guys, I got the nachos, I got the Doritos for the
and then I was just like, I'm gonna go to my car, and then if they're still going, I'm just gonna not say anything. And then they came downstairs and they're like, oh shit, how long you been here? I was like, I've been in and out, but like 10, like
no pun intended.
We're good. Don't worry about it. Like, we're good. Yeah, I've never had like problems like that though. Honestly, I'm one of those guys where it's just like, if the noise is loud, I'm just gonna throw my headphones on. Like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, me too.
That's like, I am a firm believer if you don't have anything that's if you don't have something that's noise canceling in 2024, like you're not doing yourself a
Agreed.
favor.
Yeah.
Like the people are like, oh, there's a screaming baby on the plane. It's like, bro, I could put my effing AirPods in and not hear that. I could put my over the headphones in and not hear that. Like, there's ways around this now. This isn't 10 years ago where you really can't avoid that. You know what I mean? But
I agree with that. But
you're
this
right.
guy's definitely not the asshole. Yeah.
No, not at all. Like, he took a funny approach to it. Honestly, it's still cracking me up.
Yeah, that's WD-40. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm out of juice. Let me go get the other one out of my garage real quick.
But this one is low. Huh.
Next time it's just like, okay, guys, I guess the WD-40 didn't work. Let's go put the toolbox at the end of the steps. Now let's tighten those screws. It's like, oh, they're tightening screws. Don't worry, buddy. Just not the screws you're thinking about.
All right, let's move on to another sexual one. Today I fucked up by assuming a blowjob had actual blowing of air.
Oh, this is going to be a good one.
This was roughly 12 hours ago, and I'm still experiencing anxiety to the point where coffee is no longer necessary to keep me awake. I've never been a social butterfly. I've been really trying. As of late, I installed a couple dating apps to try and get myself some more experience. I've never had casual sex before, and the partners I've been with in the past never really complained about my methods aside from too much teeth or not enough teeth. I matched with a man roughly 2 miles from community college. I'm assuming this is a woman. Took an Uber over to his apartment with the promise of anime and a hookup. Hell yeah, sounds like my kind of hookup. The poor man took a sick day off his job for this moment. I get to his place and sit on the bed. He puts some anime on and we lay down. After an episode, we make out for a bit. Things get spicy and he got hard. He asked me to blow him. I grew up pretty damn sheltered and I have zero idea how to properly go down on a man. I gave the most questionably bizarre blowjob that included huffs of cold air in the nice 40 Fahrenheit room, along with making weird fart noises on his I felt his erection dry and shrivel back up into height. I did not know what was going on. Now this guy, he was fucking confused. He didn't question what I was doing until maybe 10 minutes in. His unforgettable expression of what the fuck is this chick doing was pretty evident. I asked him why he wasn't getting any harder. I understood at that moment what I was doing / not doing. Fuck. I excused myself and decided to forego the fucking. I'm damn sure he felt the same way after that altercation, as evident from the silence. I waited outside in the cold rain for an Uber home. Too long didn't read. I met with a guy for casual sex and used my limited knowledge on the art of oral to make his erection go away. Edit 1. One of my friends showed me this today and I nearly outed myself. Also, I had an ex that dated a woman whose teeth all fell out due to a medical condition, and he told me gummy blows aren't that fun. What do you even say, man?
Some people are way too comfortable talking about stuff like that. That is, I like to think that like we talk about a lot of stuff that's just like, oh yeah, that's a little raunchy or whatever. It's like, no, I would never have that conversation with a person, let alone an app that just goes to a bunch of random people. Like you would have to kill me to get that information out of me, genuinely.
Bro, Batman could not get that information.
Literally, bro. Batman could hold me hostage and he wouldn't get that out of me. Holy smokes. And it's crazy that like you'll be on social media and you will have that reaction at least once a week. Like you would have never got that out of me. Like ever.
Just the description of I can slowly feel it tie and shrivel back in. Oh my
God. I'm speechless, dude. Like,
there's nothing to say about that. Let's read the replies.
I'm
Hey,
curious.
don't feel bad. The first hand job my girlfriend gave me in high school had a rough start too. I asked her if she could spit on my dick because there was some friction, but she said I thought I said spin it. So she started rolling my dick between her hands like she was making a snake out of
Oh my god.
Dude, we
That's
should just read the
so.
rest of the pod reading these replies. This is the next one. I've done some weird things with penises, even put my phone flashlight against someone's balls for the level.
Okay. Okay. This is such an unhinged thread. Holy
This might be
smokes.
actually the most unhinged friend. Great. Now my entire office wants to know what I'm laughing at, and I'm pretty sure HR would be upset if I told them.
Oh my god. This is fucking it. I think you should, like, I swear to god, half the time we read these, it's and I think you should leave skit. I swear to god, half the time it is.
Bro, my freaking glasses are fogging up from me laughing so hard.
Oh my
Who the
god.
fuck is complaining about a not enough teeth?
What the fuck?
Oh my lord, dude. I
I think we just need to end it there because
yeah,
I'm speechless. I'm speechless at this point.
that's just the most unhinged one.
Oh my god. Like, we've had some fucked up ones, but that one's just unhinged. Like,
Man. Oh, here's another one. This just whenever I see sex involved, I just save them. Here's another one. Am I the asshole asking guests if they had sex? Two very close friends came to my Christmas party the other night after finding out that they attended on sleeping in the same bed together. I jokingly wrote "no sex" on a bit of toilet paper and placed it on the bed. After they left, I was cleaning the house only to go into the spare room and find stains scattered across the sheets of the guest bed. So I texted my friend, asked if they had sex. She denied it at first, but after asking again, she admitted it. She then told me that it was none of my business, which is fair enough, but I don't appreciate that they didn't even strip the bed and weren't planning on telling me that it was soaked in various liquids. I do feel bad for asking, but like I also had to clean it, so just wanted to confirm the origin of the substances found it on my sheets. Edit. Would just like to mention I didn't say anywhere that I wasn't going to replace the sheets. That was always on my list of house tidying. um
I just, you know, you already know what's on the bed. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, why are you just trying to get that confirmation? You know what? She had to clean it up too. That's
I
terrible.
get the angle of like, yeah, that'd be weird just going to like your friend's house or whatever, just start fucking, but it's none of your business either. Like I would have just been like, all right, I'm gonna clean it. They fucked. All right, let's clean it up. It's a little weird they did it at the house, but I don't think it's like, you're not having sex, are you? Right, right. Yeah, like
Oh
curiosity
man.
got the best of him, I suppose. Read the comments here. Everyone's saying you're the asshole, but am I the only one that thinks it's strange to have sex with your partner at your friend's house and then leaving stained bed sheets from it? TBH, that is just gross. I do agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. And then the replies, I don't think having sex in a friend's spare room is that strange, especially if you're staying there because you're drinking. Things happen. But I do find it crazy to not strip the sheets after staying over at some place, whether you have sex or not. Yeah. That's just a good rule of thumb.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. Yeah, they should have done that, and that person should have been. So I almost think like they're kind of all. I don't think it's that big of like no one got hurt or anything. Like no, like it's just a weird
It's
situation.
something
Like,
you can definitely amend. That's
mm-hmm.
not
Yeah,
the problem here. I think it's just something that, like, we always talk about this. It's either communication or time, and I feel like this is a time
that's
situation.
just something
Like,
that's like something that can be easily solved. Like they can just like talk to each other, like, okay, man, like if you're gonna fuck, like take the sheets off and like I'll deal with the rest.
yeah,
And
but if
and that and then that person doesn't need to know. Like we like, oh, you're gonna have like
ooh,
yeah,
oh man,
okay.
oh boy. Let's wrap this one up.
So we'll go one more here. Am I the asshole for insisting my daughter pronounce her name like I intend to?
Oh
I,
no.
35-year-old female, live with my husband and stepdaughter Shersha, 9-year-old fake name, and my stepson lives alternate weeks with us. I named my daughter Shersha because it was my great grandfather's sister's name. They actually came from the country of the name's origin. I thought the name was lovely, so I used it to name my daughter, but I pronounce it the English way. So I call my daughter Seorsi, like you would expect if you see the spelling. It's still lovely, and my daughter is proud of how there's no other Shersha in her friend group. A few weeks ago, my stepson's aunt picked him up to. Oh man, I've said too many words here. Aunt picked him up to take him to his mom's. My stepson introduced Shersha to his aunt, and she said, "Oh, what a beautiful name. Let me guess. Is it spelled Saoirse? You know, the people of my grandfather's origin will pronounce it Sershe. I think it's Sersha or Sershe. I don't know. I've been saying Sersha. The aunt actually speaks the language. My daughter was all excited to learn why her name could be pronounced so differently, and the aunt gave her a quick 10-minute course on pronunciation. My daughter loved this name so much, she insisted on pronouncing it as the aunt showed her. She introduced herself to everyone new as Shershe from then on. This hurts me a lot as I put a lot of thought and love into choosing the name, and the English pronunciation I gave my daughter makes the name extra special for us. I asked my daughter to please pronounce her name the way she's used to it, as it was the name I chose for her. She said it's the right way to say her name, and I was the one saying her name wrong all these years. I told her the next time she introduced herself as Saoirse, I'm going to correct her on the spot. My daughter is now sulking. Am I the asshole? Actually, that's not how you say your name. This is how I intended you to say that. My
Oh
young daughter.
man. I feel like that's like the same lines of like, oh, I named you this, but then you start going by your nickname, and now I'm mad. It's just like
Yeah.
it's not your say of what they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah, it's
tough.
like if your name is William and people call you Will, like who cares? Like people have nicknames. That just sounds like a mother that's trying to be difficult. And she said like that's not even the actual name. So who actually knows what name it is? So I don't know. Um
Exactly.
You're the asshole. Names are a gift. Once they are given, they become the property of the recipient. Your daughter can pronounce her name however she wants to. She can even change it entirely if she wants to. And to be honest, you should have known this would be a possibility when you gave your daughter a name and chose to use an alternate, not widely used pronunciation. Of course, she was always going to find out the more widely pronounced used pronunciation of her name, and there was always a chance that she would find she would preferred it. And if she preferred it, it's far better for her to start using it in childhood than wait till she's adult. Yep, couldn't have said it any better.
Pretty much, dude. Like
And again,
you,
I don't. Sorry, you go.
I was like, you just don't get a say in something like that. Period.
No,
Like
I
that's what
just
she wants to go by. Like you can't fight that.
yeah, I
It's not your
can't.
life.
Yeah, just the thought of like you being with your daughter and correcting her, especially if she like takes pride. My name is the no, actually, it's not. You say it this way. Like I can't imagine that.
It's rough.
Also, as an Irish person, don't use our names if you don't want our fucking names.
Real.
Mm,
Let's wrap this one up. We're
yeah, I
almost at
think
3 hours.
yeah. Let's see if there's one like crazy one I can end it off on. Okay. Oh, here's one. Here's a perfect one to end it off. It's another one with sex. My partner made me dab during sex. Throwaway account because I don't know why. I have always had super toxic relationships before I started dating my partner, and because of that, I apologize constantly for things that I don't need to apologize for. When my partner and I started dating, we had a little inside joke where every time I apologized, I would need to dab. Oh, I know where this is going. It was embarrassing but stupid fun, so it helped me break the habit and would make a moment more lighthearted. I'm sure you can see where this is going. Yeah, exactly. One time while we were having sex, I had apologized for something unnecessary and I immediately caught myself. A smile grew over their face and they uttered the single word dab. I started laughing hysterically and said, "You're not seriously going to make me dab right now." And they said, "I am not going to keep going until you do." So I did. I cannot reiterate how funny this was and how much it made me feel comfortable with them. We had only been dating for about a month at the time, but something about that made me realize how important this person is to me. We have been dating for over a year and our relationship is the strongest it's ever been. They're planning on moving in with me in a few months with their leases when their lease is up, and we are already looking at states to move to once we have enough money. I'm so grateful to have this kind of relationship that fostered this kind of unconditional love and stupid fun. That's a nice, wholesome way to end things off, I think.
Oh yeah, dude, for sure.
God damn,
I
we're
was
almost
curious
at
where
3
that
hours.
story was gonna go, but note to self and others, dab during sex. Who knows what comes out of it?
Yeah. Oh man. Dab for Harambe.
Honestly. Tits out for Harambe.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Well,
we couldn't get you that quote today, sir.
what seems to be the problem? All right. Yeah, we're almost at 3 hours here. What a fun
Yeah, we're getting to
podcast
end
that
game
was,
levels
dude.
of time on this pod
Yeah,
right
you can see
now
my glasses like fogging up in like the top corner.
because of
It's
the
so
laughing.
crazy. Yeah. Yeah, that's a sign to stop it. So yeah, thank you all for tuning in and listening to this show. Give us a 5-star rating on your preferred podcast platform. If you're watching our beautiful face on YouTube, subscribe, hit that like button, turn on notification bell so you don't miss any new podcasts. So yeah. Thank you all for tuning in. Peace out, y'all. Schmitty, it was a pleasure doing this with you.
Always.